Welcome back, adventurers. It is Sunday, which means we are getting back into our D&D campaign. It's the first time we've been playing the session in a while, so I hope that you guys are excited, because we are. It is session 40 of Curse of Strahd. I've got everybody here, so without further ado, let's get it started and pop us on over there. So
we could all get at least as far as Mim could go in a round, because we just all crush our acorns.
No.
except Andar doesn't have an acorn anymore.
Yeah.
No, we do.
She handed them back out.
She doesn't have any
I
bone
did.
anymore, though.
Yeah.
I have more.
Right.
Oh, you do?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will look. But anyway, I genuinely think if we were actually racing, Mim would definitely stab you guys. So she could win. And then I do think Andar would cheat.
Cheating, using abilities that you have on your person.
Says the one
we
who's just
decided
like,
we're gonna.
can we just talk about how she's like, I would stab you, but Andar would cheat.
That's not cheating. That's just murder.
Well, we decided we're gonna race to the mountain. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of
Got it.
hashing out the rules.
Yeah.
All right. So
Mim's
Shoot a
Faye, I could
fireball
give you
way farther than
disadvantage
you
on that
can run.
stab.
You could give me disadvantage on the stab,
Yeah.
but I could probably.
If you're
Have
nearby
advantage.
me, I could use my animating performance to make you all slower.
Oh my god.
What? You can?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
as long as
amazing.
it's within 30 feet of anybody, I can choose if it increases or decreases speed.
Oh, I
Other
can't turn
people.
on my.
We're actually sparring today, Rockhab. I don't know if you were privy to this.
all right. So new plan for the session.
It's a beach episode, but it's a little weird.
You encounter a battle arena.
If I enlarge myself, could that increase my speed? Let's see.
No,
No.
But my oh,
She
I'm
enlarges
fine. I was gonna say
just
my
her wings.
legs. my,
except what makes you faster, not your legs.
I know it's my wings, but I mean that would be enlarged too. But
Correct,
anyway,
but it
yeah.
doesn't make you move faster. It just means that you're moving more air. All right. You have more mass to move. So, where we left off. Thank you for the resub.
Sure.
Sure.
Where we left off. Also, 49 months is a fucking long time. Thank you. You, the group of you, are traveling along Old Svalich Road, approaching the Raven River crossroads. So you guys have passed many times. Kasimir in tow, in hopes that you can make it to the head south in search of this strange amber temple that you've heard rumors of, and Kasimir hopes to reach. Wait, why did you put on shield mode?
I didn't mean to. I turned it off. Did it not turn off?
No, it's still on.
Sorry. I don't know why it that. Because new computers just make having a bunch of pop-ups.
Well, also, they added that to a keybind. I've got no clue what the keybind is, but I almost did it the other day too on accident.
No worries.
Okay, it's off.
It is off. I got it.
Thank you.
All right. So you're traveling along the road, Kasimir in tow, heading towards the southern mountains. It is a multiple day journey, 6 days in total. You have traveled one of the 6 days. It's going to take you another 4 even to reach Tsolenka Pass. And you've been told that the journey is not only treacherous, but is going to get very cold. The Vistani were kind enough to lend you some furs. You guys decided against negotiating for horses, rather than risk their potential death. You've come to a crossroads, one leading south and one leading northwest. And at this crossroads, you encountered a few druids that were attempting to animate a dead moose. And luckily, you guys were able to defeat the druids and the moose that they were summoning and set down camp for the night. At this point, you guys are all waking up to the dreary Barovian morning. Adunbi, who normally is the one who requires the least sleep of the group, is awake and is kind of just idly looking at his staff, which as of your last combat is fully engulfed in cinders. The kind of white birch wood completely stripped, and now this charred, crackling, ember-like staff with the grasping hands of glowing red fingertips on each finger. But he seems to be fairly absorbed in that, and kind of not meditating, but pondering and kind of communing with it and nature, as you guys all kind of rouse yourselves. What are you guys gonna do?
You think there's going to be more of those druids along the way?
I'd say we should probably count on it. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Oh. Someday, I hope that we can find another inn similar to Valaki's Blue Water. I'm not sure I'll ever get used to sleeping on the ground like this.
It's not all that bad, all right?
I quite enjoy it.
Well, you're a better
Tiny-
man than I.
Your tiny hut definitely makes it bearable. Thank you again, Endar.
Well, that's what I learned it for, of course.
Kasimir is kind of standing a little, like, has walked out of the tiny hut, which is already dissipated, but he's kind of standing at the crossroads, leaning against the signpost, and just kind of looking back and forth, seeming to keep a kind of quiet watch.
Oh, you're already ready to go, Kasimir.
I am eager to reach our destination. I know we have a long journey ahead.
Well, I suppose I'm ready.
Anyone want to race to the mountain? No? Okay. That's fine.
I think we just know who's going to win.
Yeah, you're right. I would definitely. Anyway, should we go?
To which mountain were we racing?
Can we see the mountain range to the south of us?
Off in the distance, it's pretty far off. But you do see that, generally speaking, south of you, the horizon kind of rises up into, you can see the altitude kind of climb into a range off ahead of you, and you can see snow-topped peaks and this kind of craggy, jutted, very sharp peaked mountain range. There's almost no foothills. It seems to kind of just gradually rise, and you can see the forest become denser and kind of tinged with frost. And then rather than having kind of foothills leading into mountains, it almost just seems to be a general rise in elevation and then just huge jutting peaks kind of set into the horizon to the south. You can, from where you are, you can mostly see the tops of the peaks. A lot of the hill and stuff is kind of obscured by trees.
And then the sign he's leaning on, does it have like arrows pointing towards what's what?
So it has one arrow pointing northwest that says Raven River Crossroads. And then it has one pointing east that says Valaki, and then it's got what clearly was a sign pointing south. down what appears to be a much less trodden road that is mostly been overgrown, but the signpost is actually snapped off, and you just have what appears to be a splintered piece of wood where that would be.
Oh. I wonder who broke this. Kasimir, what do you think that said?
Kasimir looks up at it.
That has been broken for many years, but at one point it pointed towards Argenvolstort.
And he kind of looks down the overgrown path.
Since its abandonment, few have traveled that road.
You mentioned that yesterday, that place, when we were filling out our map. Why was it abandoned again? Also, is this a good walking and talking conversation?
That would be preferred.
And he starts walking. But as you're walking, he turns to you and he says,
Argenvolstort was abandoned by the few who survived the slaughter there. They attempted to face down Strahd early in his days of occupation in Barovia, before he had truly established himself. But after he had built the castle and declared himself lord, unfortunately, the numbers were not enough. And Strahd, with his experience as a general, was able to dash any hopes they had.
Did he have an army with him? Or... Because the stories I keep hearing about him and how great of a general he is, I've not read about any of his fighters.
When Strahd first came to Barovia, he did bring a force with him, one who served under the banner of his father. It's how he took these lands. However, once he had claimed the land and settled, many of his soldiers set down their swords and settled in the various villages. A few served as guards or other sort of armed forces for Strahd in his castle. But he has not kept a standing army in many decades. He now commands more natural forces, more twisted forces, those more suited to his dark nature.
Should we be afraid of those on the path?
I'd imagine it would be wise. They are a constant threat in Barovia, but that you have lasted as long as you have means that you have likely encountered such forces, and or if you have not, then there's a reason you have not. Perhaps you do have reason to worry.
No offense, Kasimir, but this early in the morning, I don't know that. These, nearby riddles that they're just unsettling.
When you have seen as much as I have, you find that little is certain. But when you live in Barovia, you find that much is unsettling.
I don't think it takes years to learn that part.
Unfortunately. And of your land, is it as unsettling as this place?
Maybe in a different way. Surprising, sort of, if you've never been there. But, a lot more green.
I do miss the green. This modeled version.
He kind of looks around at the trees and the fact that they're all everything's that kind of evergreen type of tree in Barovia. They're pines, firs, but rather than that kind of fresh green that you get in spring or even in the winters against snow, it's that kind of worn, mottled brown green, very ruddy.
The full
like a dead
type.
Christmas tree.
Yeah, that kind of like not fully dead, but that kind of like
it's turned bluish gray almost.
Yes,
Deal.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everything's
Okay.
kind of faded, and he just kind of looks around at the forest.
It's been a long time since the trees have truly been green. I'm not sure I remember what it looks like.
Well, if you ever need a refresher, and we all still have energy at night, I'd be happy to show you.
Perhaps.
I'm gonna fall back because I don't want to keep having this conversation with this guy.
I'm actually gonna walk up to you and in Celestial say, "Sten, do you trust him?"
Oh boy. How loud are you?
Hushed. But in Celestial, that way, hopefully he can't understand me.
I will respond in Celestial in a similarly hushed whisper. I don't know. Best to stay behind him in case he does anything crazy.
I'll just nod.
Irina like sees you two whispering, doesn't interfere, but kind of like half raises an eyebrow, but keeps walking, doesn't address it. But you guys travel for most of the morning. Eventually you do in fact reach hold on, we will actually we'll pop here so that we can all look at the map together. You guys travel forth, and it takes you to the majority of the day and into the afternoon before you even reach the crossroads. While you guys are traveling, is there any other conversations or anything that anyone wants particularly to do? During the first... Basically, we'll say, like, from morning until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Also
Cool.
good.
I don't know who's drawing, but my goodness.
Sorry.
All right.
I was just zoning out a little bit.
So you guys work your way up the path. Come to the crossroads, mostly traveling in silence. Kasimir, you see, is not particularly talkative as a travel companion. And the rest of you have had a very eventful number of days. And so no one is particularly forthcoming when it comes to conversation. You guys observe the trees passing and the path as usual, the path is mostly abandoned. You occasionally see a Vistani on horseback or a wagon. You see one or two villagers heading to or from Valakir Crest, either just on foot on their own or carrying some light goods of some kind. At one point, you do see a group of ravens that kind of flies up and follows you along the path a bit before veering off into the forest. And every once in a while, you'll hear a menacing crack from the woods or pause for a moment as there's a burst of movement. But after a moment's breath, when nothing happens, continue on, just kind of keeping you on edge, staying alert. As you guys come to the crossroads, you turn and head south. And about a mile or two up the road, you start to hear some shouting in the distance. You hear a shout tinged with anger. "Why won't you die?" It calls out somewhere in the fog ahead of you. The late afternoon mist kind of collecting amongst the trees.
It's in front of us?
Yes, it's
Like ahead of
down
us?
the path from you.
Cool.
I'm just gonna nod to Doctor Who, and he's gonna fly off my shoulder and fly ahead.
All right, so So tell me if this loads faster, because it seems faster on my end. We'll see if that's actually the case.
It did, in fact, get that a little faster.
So here, we'll have Doctor Who head on up.
I think you have Foundry sounds.
Thank you for the heads up.
I mean, I like them, but they're loud.
I forgot how upset Kasimir's picture looks.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
I thought he was an enemy when we first loaded it.
Thanks. Scary.
All right. So you send Doctor Who ahead, and you can see down the path that there's a dead horse lying in the middle of the road, which is this thing. And one leg is broken off and bleeding, and its throat is torn out. Its saddle and saddlebags have spilled out onto the road, and 3 other horses are nearby stamping nervously. You hear curses and slight movement through the clinging mist, and you see a group of 4 men, all kind of burly farm worker types, and they're by the base of a tall black tree, and they're swinging hand axes violently into what appears to be a young man, no more than 19 or 20 years old, who's tied with many loops of rope to the trunk of the tree. And each time they bury their hatchets into the man, he lets out a choking gasp and a grunt. Tears streak his face, but looking through Doctor Who's eyes, what kind of causes you to catch your throat is the amount of blood. His body is completely soaked, and the ground around his feet has been churned into a red, frothy mud, but he still seems to be breathing, and every time they bring the axe down, blood sprays, but the wounds heal back up, and he's just soaked in it. "Why won't you die? Arr! Arr!"
So, what's ahead?
I'm gonna pop out of the little eye rolly back. Like, well, there appears to be a man, very on the verge of death, and a lot of other people very intent on making sure he gets there.
We should help, yes?
Irina's already moving.
Oh, I was gonna say Mim's gonna go and stealth. she hears
Irina's
that.
not even bothering to stealth. Irina's just walking straight down the road, hand on hilt.
Oh,
Mim is attempting to stealth.
yeah.
Mim, I'm casting protection from good and evil on you.
Okay. Well, I gotta turn. What does that do again?
Basically, people have disadvantage to hit you.
Yeah.
And if anything else comes up, I'll tell you.
Cool.
It's only people who are good or
Yeah,
evil,
yeah.
right? So neutrals wouldn't count.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be
Okay.
here, but
They seem pretty evil.
All right.
One of these.
So, as you guys come around the corner, you see these men who, hearing your approach, turn and like have their axes, or they're completely soaked in sprayed blood. They say, "Oi! Help us out here!"
Help us out here?
Good afternoon. What's going on?
You see one of them is very distinctly keeping his eye on the boy who's tied to the tree, while the other three have turned to face you. "He killed our horse. He's a werewolf. We managed to tie him down, but we can't get him. We just won't die." And he tries to swing an axe again, and blood sprays.
Doesn't look very hairy to me.
The other one, "Oh,
The irony.
you don't. He's not hairy now. He turns into a wolf. That's how werewolves work. You never seen one?"
So you're saying you saw him kill the horse and turn into a werewolf?
That's our horse right there.
So, but you saw this man or boy?
We came around the corner. He was feeding on it.
Ooh.
It is pretty incriminating.
Oh, he managed to subdue him. We got him tied up. He can't escape now, but no matter how hard we hit him, he just keeps breathing.
so you think he's a werewolf and can't escape rope?
Well, there's four of us. Well, him, we got him tied down, don't we?
Oh god.
Why don't you step away for a moment?
And let him get after our horses. Yeah, we all let him get after our horses. We got him right when we want him. Are you helping or not?
Well,
I grab my... Go ahead.
you're sort of in the way if we're trying to help.
They kind of look at each other. Yeah, all right. They kind of like open the circle slightly. But they all stay within 5-10 feet. And the one moves closer. All right, well.
Does the boy look scared?
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
Terrified. Soaked in blood, like trying to catch his breath. Just looks exhausted.
No.
What do you guys do?
Bim, don't you have those werewolf killing knives or whatever?
Who'd you say that to?
Bim?
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, and Alistair, don't you have that werewolf killing arrow or bolt or something?
Yeah, and I'll summon the crossbow, the Morning Lord crossbow.
Hey, hey, hey!
This kills werewolves.
All right, we're keeping an eye on you. They all kind of like are like nervously gripping their axes. You can see also none of them are like none of them are like axes intended for battle. They're all like hand axes, clearly meant for wood chopping, like kind of dull. These are not fighters by any means.
You said this kid looks scared, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like 1920.
Oh.
Oh, to him. What's your name?
I'm Ember. Are you going to kill me?
I mean, do you think you're a werewolf?
I mean, I know I'm a werewolf.
I'm gonna look back.
He
at
kind of
Sam
looks
like,
ashamed.
Oh fuck.
I'll just raise an eye at a dune bee.
A dune bee is very quiet and is kind of just observing the situation. You can see he's thinking, but in classic a dune bee way, he doesn't let on a great deal.
Well, gentlemen, if you'll please step back, and I'll take care of this problem.
They all kind of slowly take a step back, and he looks at you and he goes, I just needed I needed something to eat. I'm sorry. I tried to go for the horse. I'm trying to follow the new rules. I am.
Ember, I completely understand, but you see this bow here, it kills werewolves. So if you truly are a werewolf, then you will die.
You see his eyes go wide and he starts kind of breathing heavy, like, but I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to be good.
I understand that, but we will see what happens here.
Oh,
And
whoa.
I am going to shoot him
Okay.
with the bow.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, I'm going to use my bonus action to use healing light on him. Which
Okay.
essentially both glow, and it would look exactly the same,
Okay.
hitting him at the same time.
Okay.
So he should basically take no damage.
Well, it'll depend on the damage and the heal, but yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
27 to hit.
Okay. That does hit.
It does 7 magical piercing.
Okay.
At the same time, let's see. 4d6, I can use up to 3d6 at once. So I'm going to use 2d6 from healing light
Mm-hmm.
and heal him for 11 hit points.
All right. So it pierces him. And, he cries out, and then is it like a magical bolt? Is that what it is, basically?
Yeah.
So it like pierces him, and he cries out in pain, and then the wound seals back up. And he looks at it and goes, "What?" And all the villagers are like, "Hey, you said it would kill him. It didn't kill him."
Aye, I did say it would kill him if he was in fact a werewolf. This boy is something else.
But we saw he was eating our own eyes.
And have you ever seen anything like me? And I'm going to use radiant consumption and start glowing.
What are you?
I've been sent by the Morning Lord. This boy is with me.
Roll me persuasion at advantage.
Can I roll deception at advantage?
Yes.
Alistair lies like a motherfucker.
Yes, you can.
Do I have... Hold on. Can I make you glow from this even taller?
Oh my god, yes, do it. Fuck these guys.
Jesus Christ.
Is it worth it?
I mean, I rolled pretty good.
For the story. Nah, they'll see me. I won't do it.
Okay.
That's a 19.
All right.
No, fuck it. Don't say anything. At the same time, I want to cast a major image in my best approximation of a light transparency of the statue that we saw at the pool.
Oh God. Okay.
I want that to slowly descend and kind of like arms open behind him. I'm gonna
Jesus
major image
Christ.
I really
Okay.
hope we don't get into a fight today.
that. That's fine. That's worth it.
Holy shit.
Okay. So, Alistair bursts into light, and also real quick, what do you have? Hold on, I need to check. Is your inventory up to date?
Should be.
I need to check
not,
one thing.
You could do a real quick import.
I'll do that real quick. Let me double check. It's just default, right?
I believe so.
Okay, got it. And does Mim, you still have the bag that Alistair gave you, or did you give any of that back?
I still have them, I think.
Okay, cool. Cool. Just checking. So Alistair begins to glow, and light beams shine from his eyes, and his mouth shoots a beam of light, and light swirls around him, and in this kind of echoey voice, he does the
I have been sent by the Morning Lord. This boy is with me.
And Sten subtly, while they're distracted by the glowing figure, brings down this statue that fades into existence behind Alistair. And all of them are like, holy shit! Oh god! He's sent by the Morning Lord. We're so sorry. And they all like scramble back, and like the one like goes and realizes that his horse is dead, and then like just kind of hops on another one's horns, like, we're so sorry. We didn't mean to interfere. Do what you will. Good morning, Lord be praised. Morning, Lord be praised. God bless. And like they just book it.
Once they're out of sight, I'll drop it.
I'm gonna.
Tim's just clapping.
I'm gonna change the major image to pat Alistair on the back. You can't feel it, but you can see it.
Jeff, those guys, fuck those guys. And I'm just gonna walk over to Emperor.
Mim just sits down on the ground next to him.
Oh, are you actually sent by the Morning Lord?
Well, that's
Definitely.
that's up for debate. But are you okay?
I think so.
I'm gonna pump 14 points of cure wounds into him.
So real quick before you do, he looks fine. He's bloody. He's covered in blood, but like he
Sure,
doesn't have any wounds.
I just watched Alistair shoot him, so in good faith.
All right. Well, there you go. All right.
Yeah, admittedly, that was a bit of a show to get those guys out of here.
So, he's still tied up, right?
Yeah.
Before we untie you, I have one question. What were you talking about new rules?
Well, we were told that we can't hunt people unless they're wandering, and to try and stick to livestock if we can. But that anybody who's alone is fair game. But they were all together, and I was really, really hungry, and there's not a lot of wilderness around right now. These woods, I wasn't able to find any wild game, and they left one of their horses just a little bit by itself. I thought that maybe I could sneak it.
Is he being genuine?
Roll me an insight check. It's really tough to tell. He's really nervous. He's scared. He's still tied up. He doesn't know his fate. He's just kind of spouting at you.
That honestly sounds more than reasonable to me.
Are you from outside Gresk?
He kind of like looks at you and he's like, and you see he kind of trails off. I'm
gonna beckon a Doonby over enough so that he can get a better whiff of a Doonby.
Okay. Adunbi kind of walks over.
Can I also insight for a different reason and see if he knows us? Like if there's any recollection.
Go for it.
Cool. 11.
He does not appear to recognize you. He is not given any indication of recognition, but also he's so panicked.
Gotcha.
Do any of us
That might be something
recognize
he
him?
missed. No, he does not look like anyone you've seen, but you only saw a chunk of the cave in human forms too.
Can't remember who that old man. I didn't write his name down.
Oh,
Also,
the werewolf old man.
Yeah.
We would have remembered it probably. 'cause it wasn't that
The
long
old
ago.
man is named Skennis.
I'm also going to like take a step back from him to like not be menacing and shunt the crossbow away.
Okay.
So it's gone.
But as Dunby kind of walks up, you see he kind of like perks up for a second. He looks over at Dunby. You're like me. And Dunby kind of smiles. In a way, I am potentially like you. If you are interested in nature, then yes, I am like you.
So, are you from up around Kresk?
I don't know if you mean my people harm.
I'm just gonna look at Andar.
We were somewhat at odds about that earlier. Funny you should say.
I am from a Barovian den, yes. My home is here.
Do they send werewolves to law school?
Are you going to kill me, or
Do you mean us harm?
I don't think so.
Well, then I don't think so, honestly. What you were trying to do here seems honestly more than reasonable. Normal people hunt for food. There's no reason why you can't either. And if you're trying to stick to livestock, well, then that's all we can really ask for.
Then can I go?
Mim?
Because I'm sitting like next to him, all like small little fairy form, like kind of questioning. Because I'm thinking about Mal. If we let you go, you promise? And I make him look me in the eyes. Like I'm like, you promise? You'll try your best to be good?
I was already trying my best to be good.
Can lie, you know?
All the high-pitched stuff got lost. The beginning of your phrase.
I already forgot what he was because I'm distracted.
Something about lying.
Well, anyone can lie. It was something like that.
He kind of looks at it. He looks at himself, and he kind of like his hands are like the ropes are tied around the entirety of his arms, so he can barely move, but you can see his hands below. And he kind of opens up his hands, and he goes, "I don't think I have a lot of bargaining room to lie here."
Mim, I want to grab his hands. With, I don't know, size. And I say, I'll make you a deal. You just tell us a little bit more about you and your family. And we promise we won't hurt you or harm you. You don't have to tell us where you are. I just want to know a little bit more about you.
Okay. I grew up in a local village, but I like to spend time in the forest. And one night I stayed out too late and I was chased up a tree by some wolves. But they took me back and there was this very brutal man in charge of the pack. And I had to... He kind of swallows. I had to fight other children to show that I was worthy of the pack. And then...
Cut him loose, man. This feels like torture.
Okay. But I just sit there calmly as I'm like trying to see if he keeps talking. Cut the
At Sten's interjection, he kind of shuts down.
You can keep going.
After they turned me, but there was this nice woman who didn't agree with the pack leader's decisions, and she took good care of me. She taught me how to hunt and how to control my transformations.
Happened to her.
What?
Happened to her.
I mean, she's still around. She's the last one I saw when I left. In fact,
He's still tied up.
that's a good question. How fast are you cutting?
I mean, I don't know how tied up he is. I guess
He's
I don't know.
tied up the entirety of his
He's probably-
arm.
At this point, he probably was pretty much fully.
He okay, so you cut through the rest, and he kind of goes, well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna head home.
Wait, how long have you been gone from your home?
A few days, maybe 4 or 5,
How long ago did we murder the wolves?
3.
Few days, like 4 or 5.
Fuck. Guilt is killing me. Mm-hmm.
Well, have a nice journey home.
All right.
There's a horse here. If you're hungry.
Oh my god.
Can't believe you just called me that.
Thanks.
Wait, I have a question. When you're in your wolf form, are you aware of everything you do and in control?
Now, it takes a lot of learning. It took a long time. And he kind of like awkwardly kind of slides by the two of you and like heads over to the horse and like kind of looks back at you all watching and like takes the horse by the saddle and kind of drags it off into the woods.
Oh my god.
Ember.
He kind of
I'm gonna
stops.
try and catch up with him.
Uh-huh.
Please be safe, and I'm gonna reach out my hand to shake his.
You too. And he kind of like awkwardly reaches out his hand, and you realize he doesn't like when you grab his hand, he doesn't really know like
What a handshake
handshaking
is.
is unfamiliar to him. So like he kind of holds out his hand and you all listen, and then you grab his hand and he kind of stiffens for a second, and then he kind of like wraps his hand around yours, and then just kind of waits, and you go to shake it, and he kind of like looks at it strangely and looks at you.
And then I'm just gonna close my other hand over his and transfer protection from evil and good from Mim to him.
Okay.
Just be safe.
Okay. Thanks. And he kind of like lets go and starts dragging the horse into the woods.
Why is every old guy in Barovia a complete and utter asshole?
Didn't we hear that from Kasimir earlier?
Kasimir
Where's
Casimir's
Kasimir?
he's standing about 20 feet back, and he's just been observing the whole thing. And as you guys kind of gather, he walks ahead and just kind of walks past all of you. And he goes, "Be careful with werewolves." And just kind of walks by.
God damn it. Fuck this guy.
Stay here long enough and you're angry at everything.
And Irina kind of chimes in. To your point, I imagine that it's less of them being assholes and more of them. Horses are expensive commodities here. By the looks of them, they may not be able to afford a great deal, and losing a horse is significant.
Fair enough. The boy got himself in a bit of trouble, but I'm just glad we came along. Glad it went the way it did.
I
Agreed.
think we also owed it to him and to them to help.
A bit, yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us, right? He kind of like half
Yeah,
jokes.
hopefully he'll be able to continue training that restraint when he gets back to the cave.
Either way, perhaps we don't want to be where he left us. Let's see. Shall we?
All right.
Did we have any way to like message Mal, or like write a letter to her or something?
No.
No?
Did we shoot off a flare? I don't know.
Okay.
All right. So, back to the map. The whole thing takes about 45 minutes. You guys continue trekking for the rest of the day down the path. And this path is a path that you have not yet taken. This is an earlier turnoff and a more well-trodden road than to the Wizard of Wine's winery. And Kasimir leads fairly confidently. But it takes a little bit for you guys to kind of get your bearings, because the woods around you still seem to be the same as any you've seen. And the path just seems to roll endlessly into the fog. In certain sections, the fog gets thick and heavy, and all you can see are the sides of the road and the limbs of trees kind of appearing and disappearing as the fog wisps by, almost grasping out into the path, appearing from the darkness and fading into nothingness of moisture and fog. And at other times the fog kind of thins and you can see a decent ways out ahead of you, but it almost for a while seems like just an endless parade of trees and dirt and these swirling, tumbling clouds of fog. You do notice that the air is becoming more brisk and chill, and the sounds of the forest, crows and ravens, and also the snapping of twigs and the occasional dashing of animals or chittering of some small creature seems to be fading the further that you travel, and you're starting to get that kind of muffled sound you had near Kresk, but not as heavy of a snowfall, more of a crunch and a kind of light, empty airiness as the fog becomes more biting and the moisture seems to cling more tightly to your skin. You can feel the temperature dropping, and really that's your only indication that it's starting to fall into more of an evening nighttime. And after a few hours and your feet starting to ache under your legs, Kasimir turns to you all and says,
It is late. Should we travel much further, we are putting ourselves at risk. We should camp for the night.
You all right? At some point before he suggests we get off the path, pretty much, I want to pull Alistair back.
cool.
I have a question, but I don't know if we should be speaking in common or if that's draws your attention too much.
We could just do the other thing again. Or can you can talk in my head, can't you?
You can hear it still. I have to whisper it, but you hear it in your head. Whatever you say comes into my head, but
And just for my edification, how subtle are you being to the other members of your party outside of just Kasimir?
I don't know, not so much.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll just switch to Celestial. I wanted to ask if we should talk to him about that gap in the mist behind the hill, since we're over here. He knows a lot about this place, but
I mean, if anybody's going to know, it would be of Astani in Celestial. I guess probably Vistani probably wasn't in Celestial. There probably isn't a word for that.
yeah. I'm just super curious, I guess.
I don't think it could hurt.
All right.
Any other conversations or activities anyone wants to do during the travel time?
I'm writing a little note.
Okay. All right. So then, after a certain point, Kasimir turns and suggests you set up camp. You guys manage to find a small area off the path, wide enough for Andar to prepare his tiny hut, which is fairly cramped with the full 7 of you in it.
It's getting cold. Should we maybe go collect some firewood real quick? Set something up?
If you'd like. The temperature inside the tiny hut is always comfortable.
Also, might be nice to warm up a meal. Get a nice fire going.
Yeah, that sounds right. We can help you out.
With all the spells that we have in this group, you'd think we'd be able to just warm up a meal instantly.
Well, I can
I
do
can.
light. I can't do fire. I'm gonna go get some wood.
I can do fire. Just a little.
I'm
And what did you... Oh, sorry.
gonna look back at Mim and over at Sten and walk off into the woods.
Oh.
Irina kind of like catches on to what's happening, but it doesn't want to intrude. So she turns to Kasimir and it's like, "So, how old did you say that you were again? I'm sorry, I'm not sure how long night elves live, but I believe it's a long time, is it not?" And Kasimir kind of turns and
Yes. A very long time.
you can see that she's attempting to play interference for you.
Fuck yeah. Love Irina.
Is Sten going?
Alistair has those noodle arms, so I'll go help him out.
Okay, have fun.
Pretty sure your
God damn
strength
it,
is
Sasha.
probably a lot more.
I'm laughing at what you sent me.
Oh yeah. Sten, are you gonna? Never mind.
Yeah, I'm heading out.
Cool. Moon doesn't get social cues, so have fun.
Cool. Sten, did Mim come with you?
If she did, I don't know if I'd be able to see her.
That's completely fair. Mim! I say way too quiet for you to actually hear it.
I said someone's calling my name, but I can't hear them.
Is that something on the wind?
The dream I had the other day. Didn't I tell Sten about that?
Yeah, because I read your journal.
Yes, okay. I wanted to see if, well, frankly, now that I have a soul again, if I had any effect with the blade.
Hold that thought. Wait a second. Do you not have it?
No, Mim does.
When did Mim get it?
Oh, well, there was a point in time where I wasn't really trusted. You know, the whole, honestly, I think it was a little bit before this, but the whole blindfold thing, and I was a bit compromised. So I gave, honestly, most of the money that we got and the blade over to Mim.
All right. Well, if she's still by the fire, or where we plan to make a fire, maybe I can call her over. And I want to position myself 120 feet at most away from where I left Mim, and I'll cast message in that direction, aim towards Mim, if she's still there.
If
Him.
she's in
Uh-oh.
the
Shit,
tiny
give me a minute.
hut, I don't think that'll work.
Was the tiny hut already made?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Did you start making it when they
Does
walked
it
away?
create magical silence?
It says spells and other magical effects cannot extend through the dome or be cast through it.
I have magical silence blocks the spell,
Let's look it up.
along with a
I
bunch
would
of
say
thick materials.
my ruling would be if she is inside the tiny hut and the tiny hut goes up, then message will not work into the tiny hut because magical effects cannot pass through tiny
So-
hut.
But it takes 10 minutes to cast, right?
It does.
I wouldn't have cast it if it wouldn't have been casted with everyone in it, because otherwise Sten and Alistair could not come back in.
Correct. And honestly, I don't think you guys hung around for 10 minutes before you left. So I'm going to say tiny hut would probably not be up in that.
So we're just hanging out then.
Yes.
I'm sitting on like a rock.
Honestly, it also probably would have made sense for Alistair to interject too, because we typically piss off Andar by doing something else.
This all tracks.
Okay. So
You know what?
yeah,
I'm casting tiny hut while they're gone.
I'll send message in the direction Mimward, hopefully. Mim, if you're still by the camp, if you could
I get
just
scared because there's another voice and I fall.
come this
Anyway.
way, towards the direction Alistair and I went with the bag he gave you. I don't know if I can say much more.
Do I have to say something out loud to respond?
No, it's in
You
your
say
head.
in your head?
Okay.
You-
Didn't hear me.
When you do the
I've
really
gotten-
high pitch, it cuts out.
God, so
Stay-
sad.
I caught it. I caught it.
What the heck, stud? Okay. Anyway, Mim's gonna start
Hey,
heading
bro.
over there. Bro?
Okay.
Mim's voice is-
She said, Sten, you scared me. I'm not sure if she's on her way.
I dash
I don't even know
over.
if she's over here, actually.
Yoo-hoo.
Huh? Mim, you scared me.
I have the stuff. What's going on?
It's a wild Astromeria.
I was wondering if I could see the blade. I haven't been able to try it again since I'm getting my soul back, and I also kind of had an idea. You know how I can do this, and I shunt the crossbow to my side. And then
Shunt
take
is
it
an
away.
interesting word.
Well, it goes to a pocket plane,
Yes.
so
Summon.
shunt is-
We could say summon.
okay. I summon.
Can you just do the sound effect?
Well, also it comes from mist, right?
Oh, right.
So,
That's
So it's
cool.
like a.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
Oh yeah. The sword. I gambled it away.
You.
I'm just kidding. Oh, your face. I pull it out of the bag.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of nervous to do this.
Well, there's a 50-50 chance nothing will happen, so that's fun.
You. What are you going to do?
I guess hold it. I don't know.
Well, what's the worst that can happen? It comes alive and kills you, right?
Okay. And then I'll take the blade if you'll give it to me.
I look up at him in the eyes and I say, "Can I really trust who you are? Are you really Alistair?"
Well, I don't exactly trust me, so use your best judgment.
Oh,
Hey, should we bring
Judgment.
Andar over here?
How do you mean?
Well, it's the most magically capable.
That's fair. Maybe we don't do this now. My one worry is Kasimir. I don't know where his true allegiance lies, and
I mean, if we go and we get Andar, and then maybe a Junbi, they all leave, and it's just Kasimir and Irina, I think they might get suspicious. So maybe do we try it now? Before it gets suspicious? And then group up?
should the worst happen, I do believe that Mim could probably kill me.
What do you mean the worst? Why would I need to kill you?
Should anything happen. I'm kind of joking.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I have a plan. I'll get to the same spot and just point Andar word. And I'll cast message. Hey, and we might be doing something very stupid. So if you see like I don't know something horrible in the direction we've all gone, either come save us or run away. Okay. All right. I think I got it taken care of.
I'm gonna roll my eyes and send Doctor Who over.
And restart the ritual.
I was gonna ask him. Hey, was he doing anything?
Tiny Hut's already up. You guys are screwed. No.
Well,
All right.
Are we doing this?
oh, Doctor Who, you scared me.
And I will take the blade.
All right. As your hand touches the blade, you do feel a slight sense of warmth that you didn't feel before, and you get this like you feel this emotion deep down, this kind of stirring, almost like a simmering anger, but more than anything, like all of a sudden you feel really motivated, you feel really determined, and you feel like this kind of like crackle of energy, where your hand surrounds the palm.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, all of that is distinctly different from the last time you held it, but that's really the crux of what you're feeling. Is this deep simmering and this kind of crackle in your hand.
I feel very awake. Besides that, not much else. Like there's an electricity, a current.
Well, you're just holding it, yeah? Why don't you, like, do something with it? I don't know. Do something awesome.
Something amazing, I guess.
I swing the blade and cast light on the hilt as I do it.
All right. You swing the blade. You cast light. Light doesn't take effect. But you do swing the blade, and there's kind of a, but nothing appears.
I gotta
You
be
do
honest,
feel
you didn't-
as you swing it though that the crackle kind of intensifies in your hand.
A little bit more. I gotta be honest, he didn't exactly give me instructions. I could
Do you think
sit
that's
with
something? Oh, yeah. I was going to say the same thing.
I could sit with it a while, and then I think I should be able to do with it like I do the crossbow.
Real quick, where do you get light from as a spell?
Asmar.
Okay.
It's innate.
Then I'll say that the crackle, when you cast light doesn't take effect, but it does. The crackle turns into like a light hum as you swing it for a second, rather than having that kind of like that, almost like a sparking. It seems to like solidify into like a hum as you swing it, and then after a moment, it goes back to that kind of crackling, popping sensation. Oh.
Give me a
Thank
second.
you,
I'm sorry.
Sasha.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Still here. Big soup.
Continue.
Who am I?
It occurs to me that maybe I shouldn't have tapped myself today before trying this.
You tapped yourself?
What? I mean, that was an above table term.
Yeah.
During
No,
the
that. But even
campaign.
then, like, what did you do?
I used all of my fucking spell slots to do that fucking bullshit I did.
You did one thing.
Well,
It
I
was
did
really
one thing
cool.
and protection from good and evil twice.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's spend some time with it. Let us know in the morning if you have another dream.
Oh, okay. And I will.
Hold on, I gotta adjust the music because this is for whatever reason the one that like steals from Dark Souls for no apparent reason. All right, continue. Sorry.
I guess I'll just keep the blade on me. If I guess I'll keep it on me if that's cool with both of you. And maybe once Kasimir falls asleep, I take some time with it.
I'm going to go remind Kasimir what a tree looks like.
All right. Don't exactly know what that meant.
I'll just
I'm actually gonna get firewood now.
Yeah, I'll go
Thank
back.
you for holding on to this, ma'am.
Yeah, you're really lucky I didn't try and sell it because it was really tempting.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have earned a lot.
Yeah, I guess so. You want some help collecting the wood? I got
Sure.
really strong arms.
Sure.
Doctor Who
start-
is on the ground next to you and kind of clacks and flaps and kind of hops in your direction.
Doctor Who, do you want up?
Kind of hops up. And...
Good Doctor Who.
That will never not be unsettling. Hey, buddy. And I will start getting wood.
I
It
have a
turns its
question.
glowing red eyes at you and kind of cocks its head.
How big is Doctor Who?
It was a snow owl, right, originally?
Yeah.
So probably 1.5 feet, 2 feet tall. Right?
Almost my size.
Yeah, similar to Mim size.
So fun. Okay, cool.
Snow owl size.
Mim rides Doctor Who into battle.
Snow owls are 1.3 feet tall. It's about like a statue-ish. And they have a 49 to 51 inch wingspan.
This one says they can reach up to 27 inches in height.
That's correct. So
And I'm like,
we'll say it says 20 to 27. So we'll say he's about a foot tall. We'll just go with a foot.
a foot is
Or 2 feet,
12
sorry.
inches. Yeah, thank you.
2 feet. Yeah. My brain. Here's Square Pizza in the chat saying that he's not intellectual enough for D&D, and I think 24 inches is a foot. Also, Ghakis, hello. All right, so you guys gather wood. Sten goes back. Irina's doing her best to stall Kasimir, who has clocked that everyone's left, but hasn't raised issue with it. Andar, what are you doing while everyone's gallivanting?
How much does Mim weigh?
That's a great question. I was trying to look up where my
Rude.
height is. Yeah. How dare you?
Oh, I have Alistair's weight. Holy shit, I didn't know I wrote that.
Where'd you put it?
It's
in?
under description.
Let's see.
Description
Wow.
characteristics.
I don't know where description. I'm blind. You know what? I weigh 2 pounds. I don't know. I will have to find that out. I had it somewhere once upon a time.
According to D&D Beyond, an owl familiar can carry 22 pounds while flying.
I'm 21 pounds. No. I don't know. Let me see.
How
Look
much
it up.
does a fairy weigh?
Between 25 and 35 pounds.
So just cast reduce
Yeah, they're 2 to 3 feet tall and weigh between 25 to 35.
or enlarge.
Or I can
on the owl.
enlarge. Yeah. I'm flying
Honestly,
on a
can
giant
you
owl.
imagine enlarged Doctor Who?
That'd be so sick.
All right, this is the next plan. Okay, cool. I'm going to be 25 pounds, and I'm going to be 2 feet tall.
Done.
It is done. Second wish.
And so it is.
All right. So Andar, what are you doing while everyone's gallivanting?
I'm just reading. Kind of sat off from the side of Irina and creepy guy
Sounds good.
whose name is escaping me.
Kasimir.
Kasimir.
So Sten, you come back to the camp. Is there anything that you particularly
Okay.
want to do?
Feeling amped. There are trees around, right?
There are trees. It's very foggy, but there are trees.
Okay. I'm going to cast Major Image to change 20 feet worth of trees into oh god, is it sunset right now? Do we have light?
It's honestly, the fog is thick enough that it's really hard to see what time of day it is where you are. You can just kind of tell based off of the evening sounds and the chill that it is getting to be night but you can't really. The fog's too thick to really see the sky above you.
Okay. So then I will make this square of trees a little brighter. It'll have its own inherent light to it.
Cool.
And there'll be the same size trees that are around, fresh needles, and it'll smell like pine needles. And then we'll do kind of that mountain kind of shrubs at the base of it.
Cool.
Just give it a little bit more character.
So you cast, and Irena's and Kasimir's conversation abruptly stops. And Kasimir turns and looks at it. And for the first time ever, you see his visage kind of softens. And he doesn't say anything, but he just stares at the trees. And it almost seems for a moment like he's trying to like ingrain the image into his memory.
Yeah, come over here. I can see you thinking about it. Come and smell it.
He kind of slowly stands and he walks towards it, takes a couple steps, and just kind of stands at the edge of it. You can tell that there's almost like this reluctance of like he knows that if he gets too close, he knows it's an illusion. So he knows if he gets too close, he'll see through it. So he doesn't want to ruin that for himself. So he kind of like stands at the edge and just seems to breathe and stare almost unblinkingly at this image. And it lasts like 10 minutes.
Yes.
He spends the whole 10 minutes just standing and staring completely still, letting the breeze kind of like blow the scent in his face, and just completely unmoving until it fades back. And you see his face kind of just ever so slightly twist up again, and this almost like this imperceptible set in his face. And he turns to you. It has been a very long time since someone has shown me such kindness. Thank you. And then he goes and he sits back down by the campfire.
Were you here when it looked like that?
Yes. For a time. Not a long time. But I was here. I had completely forgotten the smell.
I've got a crazy idea, crazy dream to try and get this place back to that.
Well, I do hope, as ambitious as your dream may be, that perhaps you are able to reach it someday, and if not you, then someone who shares your ambition.
Me too.
All right, Alistair, you and Mim gather some firewood. Doesn't take you very long. But it's tough to see at times because the fog is particularly thick where you are. But you manage to gather some sticks and bring them back. And with everybody reassembled, Adunbi again is just kind of sitting with his staff and kind of feeling along the edges. And you can see that as he feels along the staff, soot almost seems to come off on his fingers. And he's kind of rubbing it and smelling it and just kind of pondering the transformation of the staff.
Is, everything okay at Doomby?
I believe so. I just am determining. Why is he French?
He's kind of running Vasily right now.
I'm not good at this. Like, what is it, like South African thing that Hewitt does? But it is not something I am particularly familiar with. This a transformation like this. It is new to me. I'm so bad at his accent. I had it a little bit before, not as much this time.
Can't wait until the day you play Alistair.
Oh fuck!
You're just
Well,
broody teenager.
I mean, that's fine. That's easy. It always becomes Russian. But anyway, so with everybody back, Andar, do you put up Tiny Hut?
Sure.
All right. So Tiny Hut goes up. And Alistair, do you...
put it up where Stin is just on the outside of it. That's
Good,
what
because at minute 9 of 10, I'll whisper to you, hey, thanks for sending Doctor Who over.
Alistair, do you actually set up the fire? Or
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you guys set up a fire, get it going. As the tiny hut pops up, it immediately goes from that kind of brisk chill to a more temperate kind of warm atmosphere. And with the fire, actually, it's almost a little hot in the actual tiny hut. And you all settle down. Immediately, kind of the light frost on the grass near you melts, and you've got kind of a damp surface on which you all set your bedrolls. And everybody is going to lay down for the night. Is there anything anyone wants to do before they settle down, and or
I would like to stay up until people are asleep.
all right.
I'll take out that sickle that Mal gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of examine it and think about stuff since we had another reminder of that area earlier in the day.
So you notice the sickle is inscribed along its curve with the phases of the moon carved into the blade itself. And it has this kind of blue silvery tint to the metal that seems to curve around the blade. And in a way, you realize that as a gift from the Morning Lord, the moon is always kind of a reflection of the sun in its own way. And there is kind of it's got that unnatural cleanliness to it that indicates that it's got some kind of magic to it. But otherwise the blade is pristine and the etchings are very fine into the side.
Hey, and seriously, do you have a couple minutes?
Sure.
What is this?
This is
magically.
a tiny hut.
I mean, and I'll hand over the sickle.
Oh, what kind of magic is it? Stand by.
Malice gave it to me before we all left.
No, I suppose that'd be silly if tiny hut was concentration. Okay, I'll cast Identify.
All right. So, after a few minutes, you see that the sickle has an enchantment that gives you advantage on initiative checks.
Anything special, or is it just very
Yes,
clean?
it's enchanted. It seems to give you a leg up when we find ourselves in an awkward spot.
Like, surrounded in a tiny hut, or a different.
More danger awkward.
Oh, more
than,
dangerous awkward. Okay,
than
yes, no, you're right.
proximity awkward. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right.
I'm gonna stay up for an hour and a half
Mm-hmm.
to copy a glyph of warding from the spellbook we found in the attic of the Baron's house into mine.
Okay.
How long does attunement take?
Um,
Not asking whether or not I can, specifically how long does attunement take?
yes, I have to check actually. Also,
Let's
just
get a
a real
long
quick
rest.
about the sickle. It's also +1. It is a +1 sickle.
Okay. Man, my that's not gonna really help anybody over here with these low modifiers.
It requires a short rest focused on only that item while physically being in contact with it. It can be weapon practice, meditation, or some other appropriate activity. If the short rest is interrupted, the attunement fails.
So, short rest is an hour, right?
Mhm.
So if Andar's staying up, I will stay up for almost the exact same time, plus 30 minutes. Because I need 2 hours.
So, what do you do for the first hour?
For the first hour, I'm going to just sit with it, examine it, try to attune.
Okay. You sit with it, you hold it, and you feel this crackling, and you feel this kind of like simmering, and it's tough to tell if this is like anger or frustration. But it makes you feel tense. It physically makes you feel like there's a problem that you can't solve. And then there's this overwhelming urge to solve the problem. That's manifests in this like determination, this will to kind of push towards this this goal. And that is separate from the crackling. The crackling is this kind of energy that seems to be within the handle itself. Like almost when you are gripping the handle and your hand is encircled around the where the grip is, that grip is just crackling with energy.
Is this stuff, do I feel one way or the other on a moral alignment of what this might be?
It's the thing is you're getting feelings more than morals, right? You're getting the senses, but you're not really because it doesn't have more than just these urges, it doesn't have any sort of cognitive attachment. It's very tough to determine like whether or not this is these feelings are right or wrong, so to speak, right? Like morality requires context. You're only getting this kind of primal emotion.
Just quietly to myself, it makes sense that I didn't feel this before.
You are able to conclude that basically the fact that you were muted emotions, it had nothing to trigger within you before, but now you are able to feel these feelings and sense this this kind of momentum, but where it comes from or what it wants are all yeah.
I'd imagine that's probably a really addicting feeling for Alistair too.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Being as he was out without that completely for so fucking long.
And like I said, the crackling is separate from the emotion. It seems to be this almost roiling energy. And it's centered specifically where the grip is in your hand.
So yeah, I'm just going to continue to take that first hour with it, probably like clean it for like anything that it might have, gotten dirty or anything.
I will say after an hour, attunement, it doesn't necessarily attune. It doesn't, nothing particularly changes after an hour. Other than you're really able to kind of like explore the depths of these feelings and kind of locate the source of the energy. Real quick, do we want to take a quick bathroom break? Because I did just get a massive raid and I want to at least acknowledge it.
Yes, because I also have to look a lot of stuff up for that next hour.
Perfect. Then let's do that real quick, and then we'll regather in 5 minutes. Sounds good? Cool. All right.
Yay, raid!
Yay,
Take this blood.
Didn't Andar also touch the thing and that caused issues?
Yeah.
And
I blew up Andar.
A ton of issues.
We all
That's true.
almost
I blew up
died.
Andar. Andar dropped a building on me in turn.
So really, you started it.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it takes more than dropping a building on you to take you out, though.
That's true.
Honestly,
building.
the amount that you guys have survived is pretty daunting. Let's be real. You guys have survived some pretty ridiculous circumstances. All right. So what was the other half hour that you want, or other hour or half hour that you wanted to spend, Alistair? What was that other?
I would like to meditate with what we have of the blade.
Okay.
And try and connect with the Morning Lord and make the Sunblade a pact weapon, because I've looked that up and I can do that.
You can do that. Is it sentient? What was the sentient rule?
If the blade is sentient or an artifact, that you cannot. But I have looked up sage advice, and specifically this sword was written so that it could be the Warlock's pact weapon.
Oh, well, there you go. Because I will say, technically speaking, it is classified as sentient, but not in a way that it has a personality.
But also, since it's like sage advice, essentially, I'm going to say that's probably your ruling.
Honestly, I will allow it.
Okay.
I think it's cool. Because it's defined as sentient in its description, but it's not. It's unique, and I think it's cool. So let's do it. All right. So you commune with the thing. Is now your pact weapon. You have not attuned to it in the traditional
Correct.
sense. Is there anything else that you want to do before you crash?
After like meditating and everything is complete, I'm going to try and shunt it into mist.
It does so.
Well, that's one problem off the board. And I will try to get to sleep.
All right. Everyone gets a long rest.
Woo.
You wake up to the fire has died down to light embers, and you guys wake up to a very sudden brisk temperature as the tiny hut fades, and suddenly you guys are once again in the forest. The fog is a little thinner this morning. The weather is still chill. But you can see a little bit further out, and you can see that you are just now starting to reach the point where the forest is starting to thin, and up the path you can see the elevation start to climb into the mountains.
Beautiful.
Cool.
And we did pick up cold. Oh boy. Sorry. Let me try
Yes,
this
you
again.
got cloaks.
Can we go to break?
All right, everybody, we'll be
We
right
all have
back.
cold clothes, right?
Yes, you guys so you were given cloaks
okay.
by the Vistani. That was the one thing you
Okay.
bargained for.
DM, can you re-update Alistair, because I no longer have access to my packed weapon crossbow, which drastically changes hits.
Yes, I will re-update.
Okay.
Starting import.
I'll do mine too.
Done. Oh, you want yours too? Done.
I made a custom name for the sickle.
Oh, you got a sickle?
Sickle.
Oh, wow.
I got one of them sickles.
Oh, nice there.
666. All right. Both of you should be updated.
Cool.
Thank you.
Oh, I gotta get rid of the sword from my inventory.
All right. So, is there anything anyone wants to do before you head off into the morning? Once again, Kasimir's up and just kind of standing a little ways up the path from you. You do notice he seems to be he is distinctly leaning on one of the trees that's then changed.
Aw.
How long does that stay that way?
It's
Well,
not
10
it's not
minutes.
changed anymore, but just
Yeah.
Oh,
that is where
Aw.
he is standing.
that's cute. I love that.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I was almost sweating last night. That was a refreshing change for what is actually a really cold environment.
Suppose we have a lot more of that to come. Ugh,
Um,
not used to this cold morning.
you said he's off a bit.
Yes, he's a little bit ahead of you.
Okay. While we're here, so good news. One of our pieces is off the board, so to speak.
Irina kind of raises an eyebrow.
Have you lost something?
Is there
No, quite the contrary. And I'm going to summon just the pommel in my hand from Mist.
Oh,
So, as far as my understanding, I can just do this at will and away.
Kasimir,
goes
seeing you
the sun.
summoning it in, kind of like his squints for a second.
Was that what I thought it was?
I'm gonna quick look at Sten, and then possibly, what did you think it was?
Where did you find that pommel that you just summoned?
Was in a bit of sand. Are you familiar with Madame Ava? You are Vistani.
I am. Yes.
She told us we might be able to find something we were looking for in sand, and we found this, and I'll bring it back.
And no sign of the blade that goes with this pommel.
No, I had a vision that a being of the Morning Lord told us that the blade might be lost to time forever.
If I'm being honest, I thought that the pommel was as well. That you have come to obtain it.
And he turns to Sten, and he kind of seems puzzled for a moment.
Perhaps your ambitions are less misplaced than I first believed.
And he kind of turns and starts walking.
It's away. um, that was a bit unexpected, but I guess we're leaving.
Well, he did say he's lived a long time. Maybe he recognized it from before.
Either way, my understanding is it can't be procured unless I meet my end. So let's just try not to die, and we should be fine.
Should we give that a try right now?
What happens to it if you do die? Does it just drop out of the air?
I believe should I fall, it too will fall with me.
Oh,
So should I die, please reach my body immediately.
What if you summon it and then you die?
I believe, I don't know how to say this in character. No matter what happens, it should be at my feet.
All right.
Okay, well, almost halfway there.
so now that you have it, though, is it actually going to do any damage? Or we just have to, like, imagine really, really hard that it has its blade?
I didn't feel any more connection with it than I already felt when we were talking about it previously. But, the powers at play let me take it out of the equation for a time. So that's all we can ask for right now. And I'll use my old crossbow until we can figure it out.
Cool.
Give me 1 second. I'm checking one thing. You. Cool.
Hey, do you think, just trying to think of kind of information we should get from him, that witch Baba, should we ask about that?
I gotta be honest, I imagine we're still pretty far back from him.
He's
Like,
walking.
he's probably just, yeah.
Like he's on a mission.
I'll be real, I trust him more than I did yesterday. I summoned the blade and he didn't make an advance towards it, so.
He was mentioning that, how dangerous this could be. And if, we look at our map, we're not super far away from where she might be. I don't know.
I'd say we probably earned some questions that we can ask. Why not make use of it?
Just want to be prepared if we have to, throw down or whatever.
All right. Anything you guys are doing in particular before you head off, or you guys just heading off?
Away we go.
Away we
All right.
But Dimby, will you stop looking at that staff? Not going to change.
It is not about it change so much as what it means. I am still uncertain.
More cryptic talks in the morning. I just not ready for it ever.
Perhaps they are not as cryptic as you think.
Maybe Sten just hates puzzles.
All right. So you guys travel. Let's see how far you make it today. Honestly, for the sake of brevity, I think we're gonna skip a day here. Of just the fact that there are so many days to get to where you're going.
I'll take a dinner time conversation with Kasimir for 2.
All right. Sounds good. Let me just see where you'd end up after 2 days. Perfect. So first stop is gonna be here. Oh, if I could actually move the token. So you guys make it to about there on your first day. And what is your dinner conversation?
Hey, Kasimir, I know you know a lot of this area. We caught wind of a story about a witch named Baba. Does that sound familiar to you?
He thinks for a moment.
I know of a woman who, well, formerly a woman. But this witch that you speak of lives in the swamps east of here, near the ruins of the old town of Perez. Baba is a self-appointed name, a title that she has given herself. What is it that you would know of her?
Is she a threat to anybody?
Perhaps, she has lived a very long time, and those who travel to Perez are absolutely putting themselves at risk of her machinations and magics, but she rarely ventures out of Perez itself. She has never encroached upon surrounding lands or put any events in motion that might threaten others, to my knowledge, outside of her own domain.
So it would be weird if she sent hirelings to steal something.
Although it would not be out of character, it would be a change of pace. I would be interested to learn of her motivations for such an action. Because if she were to send for something in the way you describe, I imagine that there would be reason she would do so.
Really likes a bottle of wine, maybe?
I can't imagine why wine would be of interest to a witch.
I can think of why it might be interesting to a wizard.
I don't know how far away I am right now.
Well, apparently this is dinner time conversation, so you're all together.
Oh yeah, this is not secret.
I'll just shoot him a glance.
because it tastes good.
A little side eye eating the food that I very obviously did not use the fire to warm.
Just want to make sure we're watching our backs for the right things. No surprises, you know?
If Baba has some sort of plan in motion, that is definitely cause for concern, but I don't imagine she is the type to have wandering agents. And unless you have done anything specifically to arouse her ire, I do not imagine that she is something that we should be concerned with.
You said ruins of Perez.
Correct.
Is that part of what happened with Argenvost? They look so close on the map.
They met similar fates in that they were both gutted at the hand of Strahd, but they were in fact separate events. Argenvost was a resistance, a military showdown, whereas Perez was a demonstration, if you will. You see, there was a woman in Perez that Strahd took an interest after. The village attempted to keep the woman from Strahd and eventually burned the woman as a witch. And Strahd, in his anger, turned the force of the river and flooded the town, killing all of its inhabitants and burying it between burying it underneath heavy tides and mud.
Got it.
Baby, come back.
I won't lie, that's very intimidating. Full force of a river.
How do you move a river?
Strahd seems to have some sort of unnatural tie to the land here. He holds sway over the sky and the land itself.
Comforting.
Is this something that seems to tax him? That seems like a lot of power.
Perhaps at first. But with his age, his power has grown. And at this point, I believe that these interactions are near second nature to him. Admittedly, it has been a great age since he had need to demonstrate power such as that. The closest I can think of was his duel with the Mad Mage in the north. At least most recently. But
Is that why the lake there is so dead quiet?
Lake Zarovich, north
Ah.
of Grass, or north of Valaki.
Yeah, that one.
I believe that the lake has been tainted by a creature lurking in its depths. I know not where the creature came from. but it has been there a good while now.
So, not linked, but just as bad. Got it.
Anything else that you guys want to talk about before end of day 2, or
Above table, Nick,
Yes.
did you bring up the gap in the thog? In
No.
the
I have not.
fog. Okay.
So let's just go to break. Try it again.
all right, everybody, it was good to see you.
And welcome back.
I asked him about a witch named Baba who I believe to be nearby just from looking at our map.
Gotcha.
And he's like, yeah, that was just some lady who, turned into a witch or whatever, and then gave herself the name Baba, whatever. I think he came back.
Kasimir, do you, are you aware of anywhere where the mist seems to thin?
He looks at you and he kind of sizes up your question.
The mist surrounds Barovia like a thick blanket. There are no holes. There are no gaps. And any who seek outside of the Vistani themselves are choked within its interweaving clouds. There is one place that seems to taunt, where it seems as though the fog is thin and beckons those to travel through, but it's a lie. It is an illusion set there to torment Strahd and remind him of what was.
You're talking, gonna look up at the sky and pretend like I know where we are. You're talking southwest of here.
Yes. Near the Druid's Hill.
I think that's what we saw, Sten.
Looks very convincing.
It's meant to.
But
It
it's
serves
so far away. It's so far away from Strahd. Why would it tease him? Business does he have on the other side of Barovia?
Barovia is as much Strahd's playground as it is his prison. Unlike the Vistani, he also cannot leave. And that image in the mist, that cityscape, was once the place Strahd called home. A place he can never return. It serves as a bitter reminder of where he came from and the choices he's made.
I have another above table question.
Mhm.
And hopefully you know what I'm asking here because I don't want to overstate.
You're good.
Do we know the nature of Barovia? Like how Barovia exists?
No. At least
Okay.
at least as far as I'm aware, in game, no one has pieced that together yet. If anyone has, they haven't voiced it. The most you've heard is you've heard Strahd retell his side of the story and the way that he describes the land. You've heard both the villagers, like all various villagers, say that there's no way out, and many people have said that the Vistani are the only ones who can pass to and from. Strahd has intimated that he could allow you in or out. And now you're hearing from Kasimir. But outside of kind of the general populace's take, Strahd's take, and now Kasimir's take, that's all the information that you've gathered in regards to like why Barovia is this way and the nature of the environment you're in.
Gotcha. So, Alistair doesn't know that, so defense rests. I've got nothing more to say.
Really, the most detailed account that you've been given is from Strahd himself.
Gotcha. And I don't think specifically the word I'm looking for was ever stated, so I don't think Alistair knows.
All right, going once for any other things before end of day 2.
Nah.
Nah. All right, as you guys are settling down for the night, and tiny hut goes up, Kasimir turns to you all and says,
I must warn you, from this point on, we'll be traveling into the hills themselves. And this is the point where the journey will get quite treacherous. The wildlife that you have come to know in Barovia, wolves, druids, ravens, they are not able to survive the same way at such temperatures. And the creatures that roam these hills are vicious, deadly, and have fought many years to stay alive. As I said,
You are talking about that goat.
that is one creature that we may encounter, yes. Its
I
name
forgot that we were
currently,
after a goat. God damn
its
it.
name currently escapes me because I was looking something up before. Let me see where we are.
I think it's probably something like, Jerry the evil goat or something.
It was, here we are.
Nice.
Jerry?
Jerry.
Jerry? No.
That's the bird in Finding Dory? Isn't there a bird named Jerry?
I'll have to believe you.
ah, yes.
Thangzor.
Thanks, Har. No.
Thangzor roams these hills.
What?
What the fuck?
Oh God, did we share something? Is there something in the Discord? Did I miss something?
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh no.
So scary.
I can't wait when Prohibit comes back to this chat and he's just like, what the fuck happened?
Oh God. What the fuck is that? Anyway, that's
Isaac, no. You're not supposed to be creepy. It's Sunday.
so.
Thangzor roams these hills, as well as other great beasts. And although I have not seen it myself, I have heard of a great predator that lives amongst the peaks. We must remain vigilant from here on out.
Well, thanks for telling us that right before bed. Seems like it could have waited till morning.
And are you scared?
No, of course not.
Don't worry. Oh, okay.
I'm just worried who I'm going to talk to and you all die.
Don't worry. I'm sure I'll live.
Hooray.
Andar, if it's any assurance, I'm sure that Mim can protect you.
Wonderful.
If you're scared, Andar, maybe tonight you can just cuddle Sten. I'm sure he'll warm you up and comfort you.
Oh, I don't know. That's really going to do much.
I'm going to very
Sten.
obviously put my bedroll up on the opposite side of the tiny hut from Sten.
Sten, do you remember Strahd's driver? What was his name?
Is that Rahadin?
Do you remember seeing Rahadin go through some mountains?
Yeah, I asked Rahadin about taking a cold trip, I think. Or rather, how familiar he was with the mountains up north. Just trying to get something out of him.
What if we were wrong? What if it was the mountains to the south?
I think that's very possible. I just don't know why. You know what? Why not? I'll bring out the brooch.
Okay.
There's a small chance, but be crazy if he was following us, right? Getting ahead of us?
Worth a check if we're lucky enough.
Kasimir, what you're about to see could be very personal to somebody, or scary. All right. Well, I'll take a look. I will summon spy mode.
All right, so you tap the brooch, and the orb flies up and enlarges and coalesces, and you gaze into it, and all you observe as it solidifies into what appears to be the interior of a shop. And there are two individuals, one man and one particularly burly man. And Mim, you recognize this as the shopkeep and the burly man from the village of Barovia. And it appears that they are locking up for the evening, cleaning up.
Wait, is this the one I stole from?
Yes.
Cool.
That was specific enough for you to know who she was talking about? That leaves
Another
half
question
the
is,
damn
which one
town.
didn't you steal?
No, I've been very good.
And to be fair, it's the first one she stole from.
Yeah.
You always remember first.
Is this? This is.
But they are locking up the store. And you can see that the store itself is kind of gathering dust. Not seeing a great deal of traffic.
And I probably shouldn't have stole from them. It looks kind of sad.
Oh, you know where this is.
Yeah, obviously. Don't you guys remember? However long ago that was? It wasn't that long ago.
No.
Above table, we were dressed in fancy wear, I think, right? Or we were in disguises, or we were going to somewhere.
I think I was standing outside. I never.
Yeah,
walked
pretty much
in.
everybody stood out. Almost
Oh.
everyone stayed outside. But Irina would recognize them. That's Bildrath. And Periwimple.
What she said.
I'm not joking. That's his name, as written as Periwimple.
Wimble, you can just change those sort of things.
But why would I? It's amazing. I mean, well, his real name is Parple, but no one calls him Parple. Everyone calls him Periwimple.
So his name's not Purple Periwimple.
No, his name is Parple Kasimir, but
But they've
everyone
nicknamed
calls him
Periwimple.
Everyone calls him Periwimple.
And near Periwimple.
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
You see,
Also, everyone's supposed to-
Parple wasn't very fitting. He's not a very bright lad. So
No, of
Periwimple
course
seems
not.
Periwimple seems more fitting.
It definitely suits a Periwimple.
Probably why they didn't notice I stole from them.
Also, I'm suddenly feeling parched. Anybody else?
But he needs to.
Oh,
What
cheers.
rhymes? What rhymes with Periwimple? Hydration.
I'm not joking. That's written. His name, his real name's
The
Parpole,
most awesome name.
but his real name's Parpole, but he goes by Periwimple because no one calls him Parpole.
Why would you when you say, but you can just call me Periwimple?
Purple, periwinkle, periwinkle. There's something
That's
weird
incredible.
here. Purple.
All right.
They don't look like they're doing all right. A dusty shop.
Well, not a lot of business to be had in Barovia as a whole, I'm afraid. Supply and demand is difficult when demand is limited.
God, how long has it been? How long have we been out here?
Since your arrival?
Yeah.
It's been,
Man, it feels like it's been just over a year.
I think it's just shy of 3 weeks.
I believe so.
Has it been about a month? I think it has.
Yeah, it's. I think Nick's right. It's between like 2.5 and 3 weeks.
Dang. Oh.
Time flies when you're facing death all the time.
Yeah, no joke.
It's like it's going really slowly.
Would you like it to go faster?
Definitely. I'd like to be at the end so that we could just and then get out.
As long as we're safe, I guess.
Hey, Kasimir. We're escorting you up here, but I think it'd be good to know if you keep warning us of these monsters, what your capabilities are, other than a ring that keeps you warm.
He almost half smirks and pulls out a book that's clearly a spell book. And he kind of like half holds it out, not like really offering it, but just kind of showing it.
I am proficient in the word of the arcane. I can handle myself should the need arise.
And are you and Kasimir should exchange notes.
This man was bookending riddles day.
I don't know if it's works quite like that.
Kasimir just looks at Alistair and then looks at Andar and then looks at Alistair.
It doesn't work like that.
Oh, I'm afraid any ability I have is a little bit more innate, so sorry.
It's just taboo to show each other's pages, you know. Very private affair.
I couldn't keep a straight face. I was gonna be like, book thickness is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before bed? Going once, going twice?
Wait, is this day 3 or day 2 still?
It's
We're
day
about to
3 of
start day
travel.
3.
Okay.
Day 2 from today. Day 2 that we've done today. Day 3 since you've left the Vistani camp.
And
We have 2 days of travel till we reach the pass.
Correct. All right. So everyone gets a long rest. You guys will continue to travel forth. Anything in the morning, or should we just breeze on forth?
breeze on forth.
Does he have another
Freeze on.
ominous riddle to start the day?
No.
Okay, good.
All right.
Wait, can't Stan do that cool thingy thing with the brooch?
He did last
Do
night.
we
Oh, I
want
thought he does it every day. I don't
to give
remember.
it another go? Should be
I don't
ready. Do we want to?
Oh,
I mean,
it's like watching.
why not? It's essentially kind of free of charge, right? Just every day.
All right, sure. And I'll just go, broaching around.
Right. You pull out the brooch. It enlarges. You gaze into its depths.
It's broaching time.
And you see a bare room with a bed that has straps tied over it and a young girl who is crouched on all fours and jumps from the bed and kind of scratches at the door. And you quickly realize that this is a face you've seen before. This is the young Wachter daughter, whose first name is escaping me.
I know that's in our notes.
So
I have Stella Wachter.
Stella, yes, there it is.
Stella!
Amaranth. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Plaid.
Oh God.
Of course, Plaid would say that.
Oh God. All right.
If there's anything I want to do in all of Barovia, it's help her. What happened to her was unfair.
I don't know. That was my favorite way to start the day. Remembering that.
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
I mean, if anything, it's a remembrance for what we're fighting for. Hopefully, these people's lives get a little bit better after, after it's all said and done.
All right. So you guys go traveling forth, and as you start your travel, it doesn't take long before the air starts to become more and more brisk, and the trees at this point are starting to give way to just straight hills, and you're beginning to climb at a greater angle of ascent. And the mottled green and kind of frost-tipped environment you've been in for the past few days is starting to give way to just straight snow-covered horizon. Not necessarily as deep as it was around Kresk, but just a thin layer of snow on everything, and a biting wind is blowing as the trees become more and more bare. It doesn't take long before you guys are basically walking on what seems to be an incline of a snowy tundra, and the cold is gripping at your skin and kind of biting through the gaps in your furs. And you quickly realize that if it weren't for the fur, this cold would be near unbearable. It is biting. Your face feels chapped and dry, and you can almost feel your skin, even underneath Sten's fur, taut from the dry breeze. And for some of you, Andar, like Andar and Irina, who don't really have a lot covering their face, their skin in some places feels like it's gonna crack or split. Kasimir seems wholly unaffected and just continues to march on forward. About midday, you guys are climbing and you come across this wrong side. Hold on. You're traveling up the hill and you come across the section where snow nearly obscures. Wait, what? Snow nearly obscures the path. and it seems difficult to tell what direction you are meant to head. Luckily, it seems that Kasimir knows the general direction at which to head and is leading you forward. You trudge forward, the snow crunching underneath your boots. And without an iota of warning, all of a sudden a mass from the sky falls and strikes right next to Kasimir, who in like a blink slides out of the way with almost unnatural speed. And wheeling around in shock, you see that the weak light of the sun against the clouds suddenly is completely blocked by tremendous black wings as a staggeringly monstrous gargantuan bird soars at blistering speed overhead. And you look back at the where Kasimir was standing to see what's left of a horse and a rider crushed from talons and then turned to red mash by the fall, and a screech echoes across the barren landscape as this bird comes soaring in.
That's pretty rad.
Holy fuck.
Shit. Oh no.
That was manual. Everyone roll initiative.
Oh no! I want a new pet.
You
Also,
don't want this thing as a pet.
for flavor, I have the mask on.
All right, that makes sense. Real quick, I will ask everyone for initiative.
Yeah. Eddie. Oh, it just auto did it.
Oh fuck! I'll take that initiative. Shit.
Oh, I didn't mean to roll for everyone. Do you want me to guys?
No,
Do you want?
that's
No,
fine.
If
I'm
anyone
fine
wants
with
to,
it. I
if
like
anyone
my
wants
roll.
to override, I didn't mean to do it.
Good.
I was gonna say, I think my proficiency plus my feet are more than the initiative roll.
So yeah, roll it.
I rolled number 14.
14. Okay, then I will just adjust.
You changed mine too.
Yes, absolutely. To 21.2.
1, 2. I'm after Alistair.
Yes. I meant to ask for rolls and then it just rolled it instead, so that's my bad. All right, so Mim, you are the first to go.
How? Oh my god! It's still so far.
Oh, it's flying though, right?
Yeah.
It is flying.
That's why it's
So how far is it actually?
Yeah, the ruler is
300.
weird on this map. It's not actually 300 feet to it. We'll still have, so we'll have each square be, what is that? Is each square 50? So each square is still 5, but at this point, yes, it is like 100 feet up in the air. It is high. Also, the gust from its wings is creating a very strong wind that is, you guys don't have to kind of like brace against.
Is it? And there's nothing really to like hide behind or anything, huh?
No, you are out in the open, and this thing has seen you, and you're its next meal.
I love that.
It's a giant bird, and I'm a delicious rabbit. Help!
I said 150. It's 100 feet in the air.
Yeah. What's the thing where if I don't move, I get isn't it I get advantage or something? I don't remember what that is. So it's something with the knife thing.
Well, you have
Okay,
like
whatever.
it's like a steady aim or something like that.
Yeah, it's steady aim. I don't remember what it does. Anyone wanna? Oh wait, here it is. Bonus action can give self advantage, then use action. Okay, it's in the same move. Never mind. I'm gonna cast Shadow Blade. What is this thing?
That's a tree.
Cool. No.
Which, for the record, this is the size of this thing in comparison.
Oh my god, that's so scary.
Here.
5 and okay. I could move there and stealth, I guess, but yeah, I might as well do that for now, I guess. I'll move and then stealth is my action.
Right?
I can't move. Ah! And
You want me
I
stealth?
should roll for I should roll for stealth. 21. 21.
All right, you are stealth, which brings us to Alistair.
I don't know that thing is gonna come down. Going to look at Irina, who is the only one that I know for sure has no range,
She does not.
and I don't know that she's proficient, but I'm just gonna hand her a longbow that hangs off my backpack,
All right.
and I give her a longbow and arrows. I assume that'll take my action and bonus action.
That does. I'm gonna take the longbow from you. If I can, will it let me? There it goes. She now has the longbow.
Cool. Yeah, we'll make that my first turn.
I might have accidentally given you 2 longbows. You should check.
Well, next time you update me, it'll fix it.
Cool.
Because I took it out.
Then I'll just do that real quick. That is your turn, which brings us to Sten.
Okay. How high did you say it was?
Is 100 feet up.
That's too many. And how fast did it seem like it was whipping on in here?
You didn't notice it until it dropped the thing. Roll me a perception check real quick to see if you can see how fast it's flying at a quick glance.
Perception? Easy. 15.
It's flying pretty quickly. It's faster than Mim can dash when you've seen Mim dash. So you would guess in the ballpark of 80 to 150 feet of movement flying. You just don't know where.
Okay. Then I will...
Pretty big ballpark.
It's a big ballpark, but it's also a very big bird. So it's tough to tell, especially on short notice.
I assume it's trained on Kasimir.
It
Or
appears to
facing
be
that way?
trained on the group of you. It doesn't seem to
Okay.
have any particular attention. It just has
So-
noticed food.
I will hold Bane if it gets within 30 feet of me, and I'll get kind of along the path of where it might swoop in
Okay.
to try and close that in. So yeah, if it gets within 30 feet, we'll unleash Bane, and then I will use Bardic Inspiration on Kasimir. Do we trust him? No. Endar.
All right, duly noted.
That's it.
Which brings us to Irina, who quickly grabs the longbow from Alistair, cocks an arrow, leans it back, and you see that she's got practiced form. She fires off at this thing.
Let's go. I'm glad she's proficient.
Dex, baby. 13 is not enough. She fires. Oh, that should have been a disadvantage because of the wind. But it doesn't matter. So she pulls the arrow, knocks it, aims, fires, and the arrow flies and immediately gets veered off as the giant wings send a gust that veers the arrow off into the snow. And Irina curses under her breath and goes, "We've got a problem." Which brings us to the bird, who, seeing the giant rabbit, goes locking in and dives down. It's gonna multi-attack, which gives it...
I should get my spell off before it's able to touch
You do,
me.
that's correct.
So it needs to make a charisma save. If you would, just please fail. That'd be neat.
It, for charisma... Why?
it
Wait,
gets a
wait,
-1
whoa,
but a
whoa.
+4?
I don't think it's supposed to get a +4. I don't know where that's from. Hold on. That's an error of some kind.
It's got to beat a 15. So it would fail if that +4 is not real.
Yeah, I don't know why that's there, to be honest with you. I think that's an error in the build. It should be a
To make it a 13?
13.
No.
It should be a 13.
because it rolled 14 on the die. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know
so
why
it is
that's there,
Bane.
so apologies.
It is Bane.
All right,
So
it is
I'll lose
Bane.
concentration after it smothers me, though. Can't wait.
All right. So it is baned. I have no way to mark it as cursed anymore.
That's
So
fine.
please
I
just
can
keep me
remember
honest.
it. Yeah.
But it's gonna attack you once with its talons and once with its beak.
Okay.
Talons first.
Oh God.
That is
That's
not.
gonna help.
I don't know where these +4s are coming from. So I apologize. It should be.
It's all right. Even if it was a 20 with a 4 on a D4, it still would hit.
Yeah, I need to figure out why this is doing this.
Holy moly! Don't you love seeing that high number?
But yeah, so that's gonna hit, and it'll be normal damage. Okay, that's right. So that's 23 slashing damage, as it
Gnarly.
takes a huge gash with its razor sharp talons, and then for the beak.
Well, give me 2 seconds because I might drop concentration on that.
Cool.
7, 11, 23. We round down.
Always round up.
Round up, then I miss it by 1.
Okay.
Because it's 23 halved would be 12 then instead of 11.
Gotcha. So you
Okay,
so
not
is
banned.
it okay? It's not banned. So then this next
Cool.
one is a crit.
Neat.
Oh my god.
I'm about to go down.
And that is 38 points of piercing damage as it takes a huge bite.
Cool. Cool.
Oh, I also need a... No, wait, I lied. So the talons on the first hit, they wrap around you and dig into your skin, and you are grappled and lifted into the air.
Okay. Bye.
You are restrained, and then it takes a bite as you are risen up into the sky. You are 30 feet. It starts rising with Sten 30 feet up, and they make it to about here. But they are 30 feet above you, and Sten is hanging in its talon.
This is not good. Kasimir have any? What is it?
Attack of opportunity.
Well, he needs either a weapon or that feat because he casts spells.
He has a dagger. He takes a quick swing at it.
Good for you, man.
He in his
How do you want to do this?
can't get the dagger out in time. Which brings us to Andar.
All right, I'm gonna cast Vortex Warp on Sten.
Okay.
Nice.
Creative solutions.
So, Sten, if you'd like to make a Constitution saving throw, you are able to do so to avoid getting teleported.
Do I feel any malintent in your spell?
Almost always with me.
This will be the one time I roll well. No, I'll fail.
All right, so I'm going to transport him 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Maybe there, and then run over there.
Cool. You vortex warp it out. The talons close, and it shrieks as its prey is taken from its hand, and it turns into a banking glide, turning back towards the group, which brings us to a Doonbee. What the fuck can a Doonbee do here?
He's got a one-shot kill spell. He's just been saving it.
Yep, that's it. That's the one. You know what? Knowing a Doonbee, I will say, God, he has a lot of fucking spells. I don't know what he's got prepared. I'm just gonna have him produce flame. Oh no, it's 30 feet up. He can do it. And he's going to miss. He throws the flame, and the wind once again batters the ball and just wisps it out before it makes it up to the bird. Adunbi backs up and tries to think about what he can do next, which brings us to Kasimir. Kasimir begins whispering under his breath and hurls a actually, what's this do? That's perfect. He casts Ice Storm and puts it that's not 20 feet. Shit, the measured template's fucked because of the fucking scale of whoever made the map, damn it.
It looks like it's off by a factor of 10.
Let me see if I can. It's 20 feet wide.
Where do you want
there we
that?
go. That's perfect. It was here. Put it where. I mean, it's gonna hit.
I think it hits us no matter what, but
Put it where he is.
Centered on
And
himself?
it. No, but like not Irina.
oh, in between the two. I can't see Irina currently. The rock's in the way.
Okay. Down one and to the left one.
So like there it would hit, assuming Irina's under the wing near me.
Yes, that's the one.
Cool.
So that's the best he can do. He's gonna take some damage, but he's immune to cold damage. So both him and the rock have to make dex saving throws. So Kasimir saves. The rock does not. So he's immune to cold damage. Kasimir is going to take 1d8 bludgeoning. So he'll take 3 bludgeoning. This worked out well for him. Whereas the rock takes 2d8 bludgeoning and 4d6. Actually, I can just have it do the damage.
Did it land on top of the other dog? Cool.
It's gonna take 24 damage from the oh, what the hell? Um, 24 damage from the storm. Hailstorms also turn the area into difficult terrain, so everything in that zone is difficult terrain until the end of Kasimir's next turn. And it is 40 feet high. The rock kind of shrieks in pain as all of the hail begins to pelt its feathers. That will bring us to the top of the round. It is Mim. You are right on the edge of this giant storm.
Ah, fuck. I didn't know that. That's cool. So,
It is 30 feet up right now.
and then what is this? 5, 10,
You could make it to
15,
it.
20. And, okay.
Because the map's messed up, I'm just going to try and be simple about the...
No, that's really fine. I'm gonna move here, but like I don't want to be here. I kind of want to be right above its head.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to.
So if you go on top of it, you will enter the storm. You would have to be in front of it to not be in the storm.
But I want to be like right on its like.
You'd have to be like right in front of it.
I can't be like above it.
Then you'll be in the storm. It's a 40-foot tall cylinder, and it's 30 feet up. The 10 feet above it is also hailing.
But even if I'm here, I'm only partially in it, right? Or like, how does that work?
I see. So you're going past it.
Yeah, like I
Got
want to
it.
be.
I was thinking above, not.
Well, but right. Well, you see where its beak is and where the front of its face is. I would like to be above that, but or like at least I'll be here by its eye.
Got
I
it.
want to
Yeah.
the eye, I guess.
All right, give it a shot.
Okay, so and I have advantage, right? There's sneaking, stealth attack. Where the? Sorry, my character sheet's in my way. Does a 24 hit?
A 24 does hit.
Okay, damage. So 15 psychic damage
Okay.
plus. I have to keep moving my character sheet out. 16 sneak attack damage.
Got it.
Okay, and then can I? How many feet did I move to get to where I'm at? Do you know?
Let's see. So you were here. So that's basically what, 20 feet, 30 feet up. So you've moved. You've had to dash for your bonus, and you've used about 50 feet.
Okay, so I have 10 feet. I'll bonus action. Oh no, I've already bonus. Never mind. Well, if I move but still am within the feet of it, can I, like, it doesn't get an attack of opportunity, right?
No.
Okay.
You're still
and
within range.
Okay. So that's 10 of my feet. Okay, this is where I'm at.
All right.
Thank you.
Also, real quick, roll me a dex check, just to make sure that you can keep your flight pattern in the gusts of its wings.
Fair. Oh, a check or yeah, a check.
All right, the dice are loving it. So, you try to fly past underneath it, and one of its wings comes down and literally knocks you out of the air. You go falling 30 feet, and land head down in the snow, face down. Because it is snow, you don't take you only get half the fall damage, but you are going to take 8 fall damage as you go face first in the snow. And for effective purposes, you are prone for this next turn.
Hold on. What's concentration again?
Concentration is a Constitution check, saving throw. No check, saving throw.
Save.
Save. Constitution saving throw. You have to beat 10.
Fuck everything. Wait.
No, you're
I got
good.
10.
You're good. You're safe.
Beats it.
I saw the dice, but I couldn't see the.
Yeah, you're all good.
Anyway, cool. But did I get my attack still? Would that still have?
You still did the damage, yeah. This is you flew up, you attacked it, you flew under its wing, and then bam, the wing came down and like literally, like almost like a fly swatter, just toosh, knocked you down, and you went straight into the sand. No.
I wasn't under the. Unless the wing was like up like this, I guess. Then
Yeah,
I
the
would be.
wings
Okay.
are moving.
Well, yeah, fair.
So,
Okay.
Alistair,
How high is this thing up in the sky?
right now 30 feet. It came swooping
Okay.
down to take Sten and is coming out of its dive, but is still fairly low.
And I saw Irina shoot, and the arrow completely get fucked up, right?
Yes, the wind is causing projectiles to be basically anything that's not a magical ranged attack is at disadvantage. The wind is pivoting projectiles. This
I'm gonna
thing is
look over at-
this thing is gargantuan, which for reference, gargantuan creatures are 32 to 64 feet tall and weigh 16 to 125 tons. So this is a bird the size of a dragon.
Oh, Jesus.
Love that.
I'm gonna look over at Irina and just go,
It's like
you know
one
how
too.
I'm like the king of bad ideas?
Oh God, what are you going to do?
I'm going to run directly under the rock,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to disappear into mist as I use Misty Step to be
Okay.
on top of the rock.
All right, you will enter the storm, so you're
Yep.
all going to take damage from that. I need a dex save from you as you enter the hailstorm.
6.
All right, so you're going to take 2d8 and 4d6.
Is hailstorm a lasting effect?
It
Because I think
says...
it's just difficult terrain, right?
Oh. Let's see. Standing on point within range. Each of the two, blah, blah. Tap much to save on second one. Does it have a
I think the spell
duration?
just leaves behind.
It is one action. Well, let's see. Let me look. Let me click on it. It says... You might be right, but I'm going to see.
Because I think it's like Earth Tremor, essentially.
It does appear to just be one action, so it is. I stand corrected. It is difficult terrain, but there is no storm, so you're good.
All right, so I don't know if you want to place me on top of the rock.
Yep. Really unfortunate mount up doesn't work anymore. Actually, we'll say 35 because you're 5 feet. Continue.
I'm just gonna start shooting it because now I'm not at disadvantage.
That's valid. All right. Go ahead.
First one's a nat 1,
Love that.
so that we're doing good. Wait, shit. The first one's a nat 1.
Yeah.
My crossbow breaks, and I have to spend an action to fix it.
All right.
Okay, so then action surge to fix the crossbow, and that's my turn.
Got it. You feel a slight hum in the back of your head.
Okay.
Sten.
All right. I'll just look next to Andar. Thanks for that. And then I will just run to the rock. And I'll
Okay.
cast Polymorph on myself to become a giant ape.
All right. Let
I
me
did really
grab
think
the
about
ape.
being something that would fly. But
I'm
all of them
surprised you
were
didn't
just
polymorph it.
weak. Well, it only lasts an hour, and it has a... I
That's
would
not
think
an
that it would
ape.
definitely either fall, take damage, or if I turned it into something that would fly, it would bury its head into me and end up taking a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair. Monsters.
But
The fact that
before I-
Giant Ape doesn't have a monster is fun. Ape. There we are. That's the one. Boop.
And I will, before I polymorph, well, I can still talk. I'll bonus action Bardic Inspiration to 60 feet. I think I would have been able to see Alistair do that. I'll do Alistair.
Yes, you're still in range. I'm going to
Thank
hide you. Just tell me what where you want to go with the ape, and we'll move him. And
Okay, just 2 squares to the left. But same.
dink dink.
Perfect.
All right.
That'll do
Which brings us to Irina, who is kind of stuck. Is gonna try and move a little bit, and she is going to bonus action coordinated strike. It is 30 feet up from her. She's going to try and deal an extra 2d6 and give advantage on the next attack for it. And then she's going to attack with the longbow. It's a disadvantage. And once again, the arrow is batted out of the sky. which brings us to the rock, who's screeching and seeing the giant ape and feeling something on its head, is going to fly straight up. The full range of its movement, going 150 feet in the air. Alistair, you are now 155 feet in the air.
Rise.
You know, when I first
Jump
did
off.
this, I was like, I have slow fall. I do not have slow fall.
Oh.
So, I need you to roll me a... Let's do a dex check. Just make sure that... dex or strength, you can pick, but I know what you'll pick.
Check or saving throw.
Let's do check.
Oh, easy. Dirty 20.
All right. You managed to grab onto this thing's feathers and hold on, but you are literally hanging by your feet as this thing flies straight up. And the crossbow falls to a strap on your shoulder. And it is flying straight up, and you just watch as the world begins to shrink below you.
You can't reaction spells, can you?
Not unless it says so.
Okay. I don't think it is. Let me double check.
Certain spells are reactions, silvery barbs being one, shield being one. But most spells are either bonus or action.
Nope, that's an action. We're hanging.
You guys watch as the rock flies in the air, and you see Alistair shrink into a small figure on the back of this bird as it flies straight up. Andar, it is your turn.
Wait a...
Okay. I'm just gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. A Dune Bee. No, I don't think it has anything that has that range on it. Actually, wait. What is this one? Nope. Just barely. Yep, a Dune Beast's going to hold his action until it gets back in. Kasimir. Do you have anything that's far enough? 150 feet. Curses under his breath. Oh, God. I need to look up terminal velocity real quick. Hold on. What is the terminal velocity of a human falling?
122.
120 miles per hour. No, I'm determining whether or not he would do a thing and whether or not he'd be able to save you. Because he,
come on,
as
then
a
attack me.
Don't
hold back.
As a hundreds-of-year-old elf, he would know this better than the human man sitting behind the chair. But do you want an attack?
Yeah. I put myself in harm's way.
He looks up, he curses under his breath, and he throws up a fucking fireball, which is a range of 150 feet, and he's 150 feet below him. So he throws up the fireball. I really need to fix this map. This is infuriating. But actually, what's funny is the rock is big enough that the blast is going to be isolated on it. But the rock needs to make a dex saving throw.
Ooh.
Is that 4 accurate? That 4 is not accurate. It's 16. Which the saving throw is, what's his spell save DC? Is 15. So it does save. He'll take half damage. The rock will take half damage. Which is 14 damage.
Do I need to make this saving throw as well?
No, it's big enough that, and he, the fact that it saved, we'll say it hit on the underbelly. So it takes 14 fire damage. There is a burst of flame and steam and heat that blasts you, Alistair, that you can feel it, but it's the bird is so big that the fireball literally is only a part of his body.
He always told me to ask before I did something, so that's fair.
Which brings us back to Mim. You
I
are
have to take half
prone.
and I have to take half my movement speed to get up, right? I hate snow. Except that it's often my fault. But anyway, I'm going to have nothing to do. How high is it? It's 120 feet? Okay. Then I'm gonna bonus action dash and oh wait. Sorry, hold on, I gotta do movement. It's windy all around it.
It's windy underneath its wings, generally.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Storm should have dropped, right? For that area?
Yes. Now the area,
Oh,
the
yep,
area is
got
no
it.
longer difficult terrain.
Okay. Then. Oh god, that sound is so scary. I don't like it.
It's actually Alistair's yelling.
Then I guess I'll do my regular half movement first. Why can't I freaking move? Sorry, hold on. Can you move me?
Yes, I can move you. Where do you need
Weird.
to go?
I want to go like under its stomach if I can, and then I would like to dash 30 feet up.
It is 150 feet up in the air, so.
No, I know.
Okay,
I'll
well here,
st-
let me move it real quick. So
Oh, what the-
you go under its stomach. You go 30 feet up.
Yeah, and then is it? Sorry. I haven't done an action, so I had to do half movement speed to get up, right? Or is that the
Yes.
act? Or is that? Okay, so then I will cast a firebolt under its stomach.
Okay, and firebolt can reach.
Yeah, it's 120 feet. So if I'm 30 feet up, it should. Exactly.
Perfect.
I have the stupid
Go ahead and roll.
target. Hold on, I gotta do it from my character sheet, and I can't do character sheet because I'm under the bird. Hold on, okay.
Here, I got you. I'll move it again.
Also, I can't even get my
Okay.
character sheet. Oh, thank you. You stole my power. Bada boom. Fire. Okay. Do I have any advantage against it from anybody else's things or no? Or no, because
Irina was the last one. So yes, actually, you do get advantage because she did helpful.
No one's.
that's good.
No one's been able to hit it because it's too high up.
Oh no.
Oh no. All right, so not enough. Mim, trying to wipe the snow out of her face, flies up, fires the bolt. It gets whisked out from the gust from the wings. Alistair, it is your turn.
God, I hope this does something. Radiant consumption.
Right?
So I'm glowing and it's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna summon the sword.
All right. Gripping on for dear life to this bird. You let the light flow through your body and you begin glowing, and you all watch as this suddenly this beacon blows off the back of this bird, and there's this giant shining light that's spinning with the bird up in the air. And you summon the sword in your hand, and it coalesces, and you watch as the light energy rolls up your arm, and whoosh, this blade extends from the pommel, and this essentially like solid light roiling forth from the pommel as if it's breathing fire out of the blade. And you are now holding on at one hand to the bird and have one hand on a glowing sword, and you are glowing, and you are 150 feet up. What do you do?
I'm gonna stab it.
All right. Do you have the stats for that sword? I think I gave them to you. Did I not?
I don't know. I have a sunblade.
Right,
I don't know if the sunblade is different.
Let me check. It has the properties of a sunblade, so that's correct.
Okay.
The reaction swoon.
All right. Let me roll the hit. 15 plus 8 is 23.
That'll hit.
I'm going to use your inspiration, Sten. So what is the dice and what does it do?
Okay, for an attack roll, you roll the d8, and the creature has to take a DC 15 con save. And it'll take that much thunder damage.
That should be ignore the +4, but it is a 15.
Okay, so it doesn't take any extra damage.
Okay. Oh, you said I have one hand on the rock, right?
Yes.
So I can't. Okay, good to know.
Otherwise, you would have no hands on the rock, and you would be falling to your
fair.
death.
Okay, so 11 points of radiant damage.
All right.
Let me make sure I did that right, because this is a weapon I do not know. Yes, it looks like I did in fact do that right.
All right.
So 11 points of radiant, plus stuff. Hold up. I think it's +3, but I gotta find it. Yes, +3 more radiant damage.
Got it.
And I'll attack again because I can do that. Okay, 19 to hit.
19 will also hit.
Okay. 7 radiant damage.
7
And then-
radiant damage.
3 radiant damage
Uh-huh.
to end my turn.
All right. You summon the sword. It bursts forth from the blade. And that energy in your hand that hum turns into like almost like a vibration in your hand, and you start stabbing into this thing, and it cries out in pain. Which brings us to Sten.
I'm just gonna growl and stomp my hands in the snow because I only have a range of 100 feet.
Okay.
But I'll get a little closer. Is it flying forward right now or just still
It is.
up?
It was going up as of its last turn.
Okay, can you move me down 20 feet then?
Yes.
Let me make sure I can move.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's perfect, yeah.
Cool.
That'll do it.
Which brings us to Irina, who is gonna try one more time. Use her same coordinated strike. Fire the longbow. It's just at the edge of range if she goes right under the wing. It is at disadvantage. I keep forgetting to roll it. So one more. She manages to knock the arrow and pull it off. She gets 2 extra d6 on the hit. So it'll be that plus managing to do 17 points of damage with the arrow as it flies up and manages to stick into the tail of the bird. Which at this point, the bird is pissed off and frustrated, which brings us to its turn. It is literally going to barrel roll and try and spin out towards this direction. Alistair, I honestly need a strength saving throw from you because this is not about dex. This is how hard you can hold on, and it is actively a spin, so it's a saving throw, not a check.
I should have used that spell last round. Okay, it's a 7, so I'm off of it.
It spins. You guys watch as the beacon begins to fall. You guys have essentially 3 seconds to catch him this round before he hits the ground and takes 150 feet of fall damage.
Well, how many rounds would it take to fall 150 feet?
I looked it up. There is a fall calculator. According to this fall calculator, gravity is 32.174 feet per second squared acceleration. 100 feet of height means that your fall time would be 3.0536 seconds at a velocity of 98.25 feet a second.
Fuck, I should have used that spell. It's
150 feet of height.
That's what I said.
Oh, you said 100 feet.
I'm sorry, 150 feet of height. I have it as 150 feet. I misspoke. But either way, you guys have 1 round to catch Alistair.
How do you feel about dropping a spell as a free action?
Depends on the spell.
Polymorph.
If you're dropping it, then yes, I would say that's a free action.
I got this, guys. I'll drop polymorph.
Well, hold on. So that was the rock's turn, so it's going to be Andar first, right? We're
Well,
still
it's
in
a
turn
reaction
order.
spell.
Oh,
That'd be
okay.
casting
Then yes.
reaction.
So then yes, you can do it as a reaction.
Yeah, so I'll drop polymorph and cast Featherfall as a reaction once he does half of his fall.
All right. So within 2 seconds, Alistair, your life flashes before your eyes as you go careening head over heels towards the white snowy landscape, the dark sky and the white snow careening in an endless spin as you try and get your bearings until whoosh, you basically like arresto momentum yourself and slowly start spinning as you get your bearings. Yes.
Remember that really stupid Misty Step portal gun conversation we had?
Mm-hmm.
I have another use of Misty Step.
Well, let me see how far it got. It barrel rolled. It was there. This is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 60, 75. Wait, I did not count that right.
Portal gunning gets me over there.
You're at 80 now.
80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110, 115, 120. That's where it gets. And it's facing the other direction.
And it's still
which
150 feet in the air.
It's still 150 feet in the air. Does that do it correct? Nope, that's not right.
1 more.
90. It's that way. It's facing that direction now.
Does it look like it's running away or just like resetting?
Oh yeah, it's like, fuck this. This meal isn't worth this, and it's bailing. Which brings us to Andar.
Gonna walk down by everyone else.
Kasimir, I don't think has anything in range, so that will effectively end combat. And put us back to...
How long does it take me to fall? If I get hit with slow fall?
That's a good question.
20 years, I think. I took a feat.
But guys, look, it works.
It's you slow to 60 feet per round, but you don't take any damage on impact.
Okay, so I still get down there.
It's like a normal fall still.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you're light as a feather.
So did it literally fade in as it flew in? Because what I did was I moved it and then I revealed it, and so it faded in while it was moving. Is that what it looked like to you guys?
Pretty much. And it
That's
moved
so
a little
sick.
bit extra. Yeah.
Flying in,
Wow.
yeah.
That's so
Pretty
sick.
neat.
All right, cool. Anyway, Alistair eventually comes floating to the ground. It's still glowing.
Shit. If I'm still glowing, I'm gonna move away from you guys instantly because you probably take 3 points of radiant damage.
I mean, well, you could shut it down at any point during your fall. You just hadn't said so.
I'm specifically not going to, just because I don't know what happens when I do
Right.
with the weapon.
So, you're careening head over heels, glowing, but you've got this giant blazing sword. That seems to be spurting. It's almost like it's basically as if light was spurting from where the pommel used to be, like the blade used to be, the hole in the pommel.
So, lightsaber, which is appropriate because it's a lighted saber.
Uh-huh.
That's really cool. I'm gonna collapse on my back.
Thanks for the catch.
Yeah, Sten is openly bleeding.
Like a lot.
I'm gonna reach out and cast healing light. Use healing light? It's not technically a cast.
And it can you use at range?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've always thought it's touch, but it's not. 3d6. Wow, I suck. You heal for 8 hit points.
Wait, well, you pretty much doubled my hit point. Oh.
Wow.
What's funny is like I was when it flew in, I was like, all right, out of the group, what does it take first notice of? I'm like, there's a giant rabbit in the group.
You know, I'm a very small rabbit.
Well,
Compared
But
to
I'm
the
a rabbit
rabbits this
nonetheless.
thing has seen.
That's super fair. Yeah, not a rabbit though.
Fair, but to him, to the what's its intelligence? Its intelligence is 3.
That's weird. The
It's
stat
a
just says
3.
eat Sten.
It's the intelligence is 3. You're a rabbit.
Oh man.
see,
I'm gonna try and turn this off now. I'm gonna drop radiant consumption.
Back to just a pommel.
Huh. Can I try and produce it without using radiant consumption? Like, I don't have another use of it.
You try and will some energy into it, and the crackling like turns into that light hum a little bit, but no response.
Interesting. I don't have any other way to turn this on and off. So once a day, I guess.
Irina kind of trudges forward through the snow. Wait, did she wasn't there for the Morning Lord conversation, was she? Never mind.
damn.
Wait, for which conversation, I guess?
The one where the Morning Lord spoke to you and Mal.
Yeah. No, she
They were
wasn't there
still
for
coming
that.
up. They were still coming up the hill.
Oh.
They were running up that hill.
How
So,
hard is it snowing?
How far is what?
How hard is it snowing?
It's light snowfall. Not
Was-
not anything blanketing thick, and this is still not as thick as the snow that you saw around Kresk. It's a light blanket. This particular region, this section of the path, it's piled up a decent amount that you guys are about 2 to 3 inches when you step into it, but this is the most you've seen so far.
Is it dim light?
It is always dim light in Barovia.
That's what I thought. I always have a shadow blade. Okay. Anyway.
Ironically, paladins and clerics are definitely the most overpowered in this campaign, but Shadowblade specifically is also just really buffed here.
So Alistair, remember how you said, don't let you die? It's really
Yeah,
hard when you do stupid crap like that.
I also told Irina I'm the king of stupid ideas. It's fun now.
I'll admit, you said stupid. I think that you understated your intentions.
Probably. I had one more trick up my sleeve, but save that for another time, I guess.
Kasimir kind of looks around at everybody.
I'm sure that this is only the first of many beasts we will encounter. But as long as we are all still standing, then let us proceed.
And turns around and continues walking.
Is Sten standing at this point? Jeez.
Nope. Hey, you didn't think that thing is coming back for us? Right?
He stops and he turns.
I imagine that it lost interest in us on this hunt.
Oh,
But it
good.
will hunt again.
Oh, no. The inside of its beak was, there was just so many teeth.
Their teeth and scraping.
I'm gonna help you up and use healing hands. Oh, that's much better. Why'd I get better on D4s? Fuck you, 9.
9
Hit points.
Ooh, love it. Thank you.
That's much better. 1 point better.
But they're D4s.
We take those wins.
What does a Doomby have? A Doomby has some healing.
I also have some healing. I'm being a cranky old man right now.
A Doomby would probably use a cure wounds. Here, have 11 hit points.
Wow.
Oh.
Thank you, Dunby.
No problem.
I mean, in retrospect, I think Sten took more damage than me here.
Yeah, I think a new plan if we see it again. I'm going to look like not me.
We did practice that.
We did practice that.
Shall we proceed?
In the
Let's go.
direction it's going right now. That's... we're walking?
It flew towards the top of the mountain. That is the direction that we are heading.
All right.
You guys can actually see its figure kind of fading up towards the peak.
Oh, God.
It's big. You can see it for a while.
Yeah. Wait, it also dropped a horse and a person or something?
Yes, it dropped
Like dead?
which is still there, by the way. Just a mushed pulp of a man and a horse.
Is there anything
He didn't look like Barovian male
valuable?
that we saw earlier.
You noticed that, did you?
Anything valuable in that pulpy mess?
A spirit crying out.
Spirit, you got any money on you? Just kidding. I respect some dead people. It's fine.
All right. You continue your march up the hill. The wind at this point bitingly cold.
As we start to leave, I'm gonna kind of jog up behind Sten and say, "Hey, I was saving this for a special occasion, but you can have it if you'd like it." And I'm gonna hand him a potion of greater healing.
I think you've already given me one.
Well, you need it more than I do.
Oh my god, I have 2.
You already-
Sten
You
has
now
all the
have 2,
potions.
or you already had 2?
I already had 2.
And I'm not giving you anything.
No. Hey, and you've already extended the kindness to me. Give it to someone else.
Do we hear this? Or was it really subtle and quiet?
I wasn't being super subtle.
And you've already given me this wonderful potion.
Oh, Ender, that's so nice. I didn't know you could be that nice.
I'm just gonna look around and put it back into my satchel.
Hey, thanks for getting me out of there.
Let's be real. He probably wouldn't be as generous if it was wine.
Just to make Irina feel bad and Mim, I'm going to cast Prestidigitation and warm both of their cloaks.
Oh, so the cold hurts that much more.
Oh man.
All right.
Oh, it's like a sauna in here.
Kind of really weighing my options on which one I hate more, horses or birds.
At least you got to fly.
Well, I was a little bit more preoccupied, I think. Maybe talk to Alistair about it.
I would argue if anyone got to fly, it'd be Alistair.
It was fun for a whole 12 seconds.
I'm not even sure it lasted 12 seconds, to be honest.
12 seconds is a very long time.
All right, so you guys trudge through the snow, up the mountain. You are getting into these kind of craggy, snow-covered hills. And as we said, it's less that there are like foothills or anything. You are just literally slowly climbing towards these daunting peaks in the distance. And the trees are thinning around you to this more barren, frosted landscape. After a while, you guys do set up camp for the evening. We will end session here today. You guys are at this point. You have traveled 1, 2, 3 days, and I think it is. Oh wait, you guys only had it was one more day, right? To the bridge we said it was 4 days total. So then where?
Yes.
I need to do the control click thing.
Also, could I possibly do one thing before we leave off?
Of course.
Just because I'm curious about it now and I'll forget about it later.
Of course.
As we're setting up and stuff, I'm gonna produce the pommel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hold it with both hands and try to cast Sacred Flame into it, which is a warlock cantrip that I have through the Morning Lord.
Okay.
Does anything happen with that?
When you do that, the crackling turns to that vibrant hum and then starts to kind of roil into energy, and a small amount of light bursts forth, and you get what's basically a dagger-sized blade.
Okay. Good to know.
Essentially, for Sunblade purposes, it turns it from a 1d8 to what's a dagger? 1d4, 1d6,
1d4.
It turns into the d4.
I assume still dealing radiant damage, correct?
Still radiant, still the +2 modifiers, still
Cool.
finesse, still versatile, all of that jazz.
What would be its versatile if it's in dagger form? Does it just not change?
Yeah, it doesn't have versatile as the dagger form.
Gotcha.
And also, how long does that cantrip last again?
Good question. Duration instantaneous. So it just shoots out for a second.
So yeah, so you would use it as if you would be attacking with the dagger, and it's retractable. You have an Assassin's Creed pommel.
Yo.
Shitting,
Okay.
shitting.
Good to know. Good to know.
Except that rather than just being a blade, like a blade wound, it's a singed, like cauterized wound, and it smells.
Oh no. Of glory.
All right. Anything anyone wants to do before you guys settle down for the evening for camp?
Do familiars have a sense of time? Could I have Doctor Who do something in 7.5 hours? Like, wake me up.
You're alone.
So I would argue that animals have the sense of time in the sense of like an animal's routine would. So like it'd be able to tell sunrise, for example, but it wouldn't be able to measure 7.5 hours. So if it's like an innate clock thing, then yes, the animal can help with it. If it's like
it probably could if you were awake, because like familiar specifically talk like it's
it's got similar
telepathic.
intelligence.
Yeah.
But even a human without a time-telling device, I don't think would be able to tell the passage of 7.5 hours. So I'm going to say the owl can't either. But I will say it probably has a stronger natural clock.
Counterpoint, what if he was a really cool owl?
It's fucking
we already
Doctor
know
Who.
he's
It's
What
always
if-
time.
Yeah.
What I mean, this owl has a medical degree. We've proven in this
I
campaign.
taught the owl a song that was exactly 1 minute long, and I said, repeat this song to yourself 370 times, and at the end of that,
370 is 6 hours and 10 minutes.
all right, I was pretty close for throwing a number out. Calm down.
But you were fast with it, and the confidence we value.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would've
quick at
trusted it.
math. It's not right, but it's quick.
I found the quote for the end of the episode. If I was recording, it would be I followed 2 channels on Twitch, Captain Rockheaven and T-Pain. But because I wasn't recording that, that'll be the new quote.
My God.
All right.
You know what though? I'm gonna do this. Add quote. Quote add. That's you.
Okay, there you
There we go.
go. But so back to it. Anything anyone wants to do before they go to bed?
I'm just saying this goat better not be 100 feet tall.
I'm going to instruct
I can tell you how
Dr.
big it
Who
is.
to wake me up around sunrise.
Done and done.
This better not actually be some chimera hybrid goat.
I can tell you how big it is. Giant. So it is large. Which large?
God, it's like a... No, that's a chunky goat.
Between 10 and 15 feet tall.
Is
It's
10,
the,
10 by 10 feet. Yep. So it is a sizable goat. It is a bear-sized goat.
A goat in D&D is 2.5 to 5 feet tall. And then you're like, it's large. And I'm like, oh, shit.
So
We'll just tame the goat and ride it in. That's fine.
Oh.
Like, do you remember
He's-
those heroes of legend?
In the battle with us for Strahd.
Well,
You just change it into like a Pokemon gym battle. All the creatures of Barovia.
God.
Mr. Pizza would like us to know that he enjoyed our campaign today.
Thank you, Miss Pizza.
Thank you.
All
You wanna
right.
catch up on all the action, visit youtube.com/rockhabrolls.
Or the link in chat if you're watching us live.
Oh.
All right, so just double checking. And no one wants to do anything else before bed? Everyone's all set?
Sleep. Just sleep.
Just sleep. For the love of God, please let me long rest.
How many days has it been since we saw the kid, the wolf kid, the werewolf?
It'd be 2.
2.
Just
are they-
enough, just long enough for them to get about back to the den.
The crushing weight of guilt.
I don't feel guilty.
Oh, wow. You probably should feel guilty that you didn't help Mal. Or you did, I don't remember. But
He saved Mal's life.
Yeah, I was gonna
like,
say,
instrumental in that.
literally Andar pulling Mal out of the cave. Single-handedly diverting Mal from certain
I
death.
forgot. It's fine.
It was
I
a free.
backed my state.
What's funny is, out of everyone in the party, I think Andar has pulled more clutch character saves than any other character. Between the tower of just like full on, just straight up like tackling the hag out the window. Like there's a number of times that people would have had certain death that Andar's just like, no.
The best.
Hooray, utilities.
All right.
Have a good night, Square Pizza.
I think that'll
Okay.
do it, guys. Thank you for playing. We will be. Are we all good for next week? Does anyone have any conflicts they know of?
Think I'm good.
Doing good.
Good.
Sick. And we'll talk about the server stuff at some point. But thank you all, and I will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Au revoir.
Okay, bye.